Saturday because we lose daylight around 5 o'clock in October. So we'll keep that in mind as we roll through this afternoon. Lively, going to see the green. We're back underway.
Now, Andrew was looking for that first win at Scotia Speed World. Wasn't able to get it, but maybe he can get that first sportsman win here at Sydney. And hello, Kehoe. What a run he had down the backstretch. Waterfield will lead that lap, Tim. This is just shaping up to make it a marvelous race this afternoon.
Waterfield rim riding around his home racetrack, looking pretty sporty to the outside of Andrew Lively. Lively digging deep to the inside, side by side for the top spot with Kehoe. Looking in behind, he wants a piece of this battle before this thing is all said and done. Lewis and Rains side by side behind. Great battle up in front. Loses a little bit of grip, does the 25 of Lively. 2 laps to go this time from the 23.
The top 5 all close together. Kyle Bent, rookie, you just want to stay out of it here. Just survive this heat race. Down to the wire here, coming up to 1 to go. It's Lively and Sean Waterfield neck and neck. White from Arch Thieves. Crooked Sean Waterfield. I don't know how he hung on to it. I don't know how the 25 and the 23 didn't hook bumpers. And here comes Kehoe down the backstretch. Could he steal the win? Neck and neck with the 23 to the wire. Jerome Kehoe steals the heat.
Yes, sir.
Wow. That was awesome.
It's the Robbie's Towing Island Tire, number 98, folks. Former East Coast International Pro Stock Tour driver, the pride of Cape Breton. Give it up for Jerome Kehoe. That was great. Love it.
Call a cop because Jerome Kehoe just robbed that from Sean Waterfield.
And Andrew Lively gave it a run. But man, oh man.
I think Jerome still got it.
Don, if you're listening, Jerome needs another race car. I know this is a car that he's sitting in today. This isn't a full-time ride for Jerome Kehoe, but Don, if you're listening, we need to get that lad back in a race car full-time. Welcome into Tim's Corner Live, episode number 43, and this is going to be a party, as you can see on our screen. 10 is a crowd. We've got more that are on the second page of our Zoom call. I'm up here in the top corner, Tim Terry. We did have Paul somewhere on the screen. Right beside me. Give us a wave. We've got Ryan VanOirschot has a party over there. Yeah, you're muted though. I can't hear you. Whatever you're saying is great, but hold on. Technology's not okay. Okay. Kelly and Anita. Where's the little fella?
Little fella probably past his bedtime.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, that makes sense. Who else do we got here? Bob is joining us from Newfoundland. Good to see you, Bob.
Hi.
Took an evening off of sim racing to join us, right?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
Not really. No. I've been sim racing half the day.
Well, there you go. Just taking a break then, right?
Yeah, you bet.
Daniel Atyeo is here. We've been trying to get Daniel on the show here, but we've been busy. So Daniel, we're going to have you on the show at some point for a full length at some point. But welcome in. Good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Who else do we have here? Randy Titus has been here before, and Randy is festive tonight. He's got the Christmas tree in the background.
He's open.
Absolutely. And then we also have Kevin Moore with us. Kevin, you've got a Christmas tree.
Yes, sir.
Dylan Langell has a Christmas tree on his festive sweater tonight.
Yeah, my ugly Christmas sweater could be this, or if you hate Dale Jarrett, it could be the Dale Jarrett shirt. I don't know.
Who hates Dale Jarrett?
Nobody. That's why it's not an ugly Christmas sweater.
We've Denver Matchett is here tonight. Week off, I think it was last week. How was exams? You pass?
I don't know yet. The university is apparently on Christmas break as well. So, and they're taking a couple of weeks off in January too, but everything's great. We're here tonight. We're going to talk some racing, and 2021's almost over.
Denver, it sounds like they take as long as technical inspection.
That's about it. That's about it. It's about the same process.
So are you pointing out a racetrack, Dylan? Is that what we're...
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I mean, Valley Raceway's tech's a little quicker than everybody else, right?
They tech.
Okay. Well, you said it, not me. Ryan McKnight is here now. Do you have any cans to stack tonight? That's the big question.
No cans, just mudslides tonight.
Oh, so can you stack the bottles on top of each other?
I'd have to let Alicia do that. She's the master at it.
And
She's digging cans out here now.
Oh, perfect. This is going to be a great show tonight. Not on the screen with us because we've only got 10 slots on here, but he'll be here at some point. Caleb Urquhart is here. Caleb, hello.
Hello.
How's your off season been so far?
Busy, man. Very busy.
Busy. That's what I like. That's what I like to hear. We've got two
starting the new cars.
Well, we'll talk about the new car as much as we can at some point tonight. I don't know how much cat we can let out of the bag, but we'll go with that.
Oh, it's out there now. So
okay. So and there's the cans. So Ryan's got the cans already stacked. We've got Ed LeBlanc and family with us tonight. They're currently muted, and Robbie MacLean is here. Robbie, you got us?
Yeah, I got you.
There you go. From Oyster Bed Speedway. Good to have you along for the ride. Now, you don't have a camera. What do you got for a drink of choice tonight?
Well, how come I'm not showing up?
You've got to hit the button to show up there.
water is the thing.
Okay. Oh, hold on. There we are.
Oh my gosh, he's got an ugly Christmas sweater on.
It's not that ugly. It's nice. And that's the show, folks. Have a good night. Merry Christmas.
That's awesome.
Did Tammy pick that one out?
Yeah, she did actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I got something else for you too, Tim. I figured.
What do you got?
I got a box of these I picked up today. I'm going to ship them over to you and Dylan and McFederidge. There, I got your thing of Bic razors here. I figured, look sharp, be smart, be sharp, and get all shaved up there and look good for the new year. What?
Hey man, I'm growing a Leafs playoff beard here. We're doing pretty good when we were playing hockey.
Don't get confident, Dylan.
When were they playing hockey? 1967?
They did.
Listen, how's your team doing, Tim? What, they had to give you guys a break so you guys could brag about your little winning streak for a little longer?
The only thing that could stop us was COVID, right?
Oh, Toronto was going to stop you, but that's your little birthday gift.
Tim, say the chant.
I don't know how.
What chant?
Bruce, there it is.
Oh no, we don't say the chant. We're fine with that. I see we got a party 2 deep going on in the VanOirschot shop tonight. Yeah, we got two rows deep there. Ryan, let's start with you because Caleb's talked about a new car, and we got Ed and family along for the ride with us as well. Gentlemen, ladies, hello.
Hi. Hi.
Good to have you along. Now, Caleb talked about a new car. Ryan, I want to talk about yours because that's no longer the Tom Sim special. That's no longer a sportsman car. That's a new to you Port City, right?
You're right. Yeah.
So how did that come along?
I don't know.
Well, Santa just didn't bring you a Port City, so we've got one in the shop now. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Does he dye his beard white?
No, Santa's redhead. You know that.
I know, but it's Santa. It's Christmas. By the way, we don't have our social media person, Brandon Campbell, here tonight. Yeah, exactly. I don't know where.
Listen, can I bring up his name for a sec? Because did you not beat him last night? Is that a thing?
No, it was Monday night, and Paul can attest. I beat him in the smashed potatoes race.
He's embarrassed. That's why he's not here.
Yeah, he's not here. Finished 40th, one spot worse than I did, and I was out of left field on that race.
That's accurate. That's an accurate assessment.
That's very accurate. But yeah, so he finished deep in the field, by the way. So we've got a bunch of people that are in the chat this evening. Drop a question, drop a comment. A lot of Merry Christmas comments as well. So between me, Denver, and Dylan, we're gonna have to take a look at that too. Steve Austin is in the chat. He was waiting.
We was waiting
for all this. We have what?
We got like 2 or 3 people in here having a meltdown because their Christmas is ruined because Brandon Campbell is not on the show tonight.
Wow. Well, one of them's Alicia.
Alicia's pretty upset. Amber McDonald's also very upset. I guess Brandon Campbell has fans. Who knew?
Amber and Jesse were going to join us tonight because I think Jesse needed to discuss like his 1,500 engines that had gone sour on him this year in the 46 car. But I guess Amber can discuss that in the chat. That they're watching all together, but they didn't have any good luck with engines and everything else. Daniel, you can probably relate to 4 cylinders and engines not going well.
Yeah.
How many did you guys go through this year?
7.
7.
When did you guys learn that you need a Toyota?
Yeah.
Well,
and 5 transmissions too.
That's a lot. That is a lot. And you guys did a lot of races though, because you went to 660 obviously full time. That's your home racetrack. You did a lot of stuff in Miramichi. You traveled the province, so you did a lot of racing. And obviously, it was a little hard on gear this year, right?
Yeah. Well, we all committed to it, so we were there when we wanted to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys did have some success. You ended up in victory lane a couple times. So it's good to have that success, and obviously you got to turn the corner at some point, right?
I was ready to pack her up for the year if something hadn't happened here soon.
So we have 3 sharpshooters in here. Well, Ryan's like, you're like half a sharpshooter, half a petty, half a tour. Like, what do you classify yourself as?
I'm odd, I guess. I'm here, there, and everywhere.
Switch over more.
So between the 3 of yous, which one is the faster sharpshooter?
And definitely not me.
There's no space.
Yeah, there is.
Ryan's only got a part-time deal going on, right? That's we'll go with that.
There's no room. Yeah,
it was pretty good when it ran.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ed, you got the whole family in there?
Here, Ed, sit on me.
Okay, so hold on. You got the whole family, but where's senior? We're talking 4-cylinder guys. Where's senior?
No, he's probably still resting. He worked all day.
Okay, so he is coming back next year in a 4-cylinder, right?
Depends what goes on.
Or
back stuff.
Or is he retired?
Oh, he won't retire.
Okay, well, that's it's always good to hear. Now, Denver, I don't know if you saw in the chat. Wendell Dempsey wants to know if Caleb is starting his own cooking show. We did have the kitchen up there. We got a nice light.
Not cooking anything. I was just making a drink.
Okay, so what are you drinking?
It's non-alcoholic, Tim. I let you down on that one.
Non-alcoholic. So what is it?
It's like a version of chocolate milk. We'll go.
So it's like Nesquik.
Kind of.
It's okay. We'll roll with that. Daniel's losing it over there. Like, these kids, right?
What? That's a big deal. I might have fibbed when I told you I started pre-drinking at 10 for this. I didn't actually.
Okay, so you haven't even started yet.
No, I worked till 5. I didn't do a damn thing.
I think Robbie's through his second already.
Right.
We've got a couple of comments rolling in here. A lot of them are the hi, Merry Christmas. Kyle Hines is watching us tonight. Kyle had a decent season down at Lake Dowsett. Had to battle some rookie guy for a championship. I think he may or may not be on the line with us tonight. So Jason's here. Kyle's not. So we can talk about that championship battle, I think, right? Is that how that works? Yeah, something like that.
Solid maybe.
Solid maybe. Kevin, I was going to get you on the show earlier this year. I want to ask you about your new race car that you had this year, because that car, the first time I saw it this year, it's red. Yeah. It looks strikingly similar to something we saw in Nova Scotia. So for those that might not have seen this season, walk us through what you ran this year, and you had a couple of really good runs.
Yeah, it's a former Stevie Henderson car that they had done it distant racing, had 2 races on it after it came back from distance. And so I'm running that. It's we've been trying a few different things. We ran quite well in a couple races. Then instead of leaving it, I've tried a couple different things, but I think we're going to maybe try and go back to what we know with it. and learn more with it next year. I think we only had it out like 7 times, right? So.
And I know there was a couple of cars where Stevie and Sean, and I think there was a couple of others tried to get those things to turn, and they couldn't. And they've been having some decent luck recently. But did you have to do anything different with that distance car from your previous cars to make the thing work?
Honestly, to make it turn, it's turning fine. And we just basically used our stuff that we had in our car before that in our Hampkey car. So it's quite similar setup to what we had in those. And always seemed to have no trouble turning, just burning the right rear off, which we did there when we were almost won the 100. The last 10 laps, it was pretty sketchy because I burnt the right rear off, but we'll try a few things to fix that and see what happens next year. You know, we sat out the 250. That's the first one in 20 years with engine issues. So that motor actually still sitting at R&D. It's all ready to go. Probably pick it up after the new year.
And those races are your type of races, because it seems like every time we have an extended distance race, I know that 100 lapper at the start of the season was one of them that you turned on those last 10, 15 laps to the finish. But those big races are Kevin Moore races, right?
Well, they have been with some luck. if we can finish them, we feel like we do well. You know, the time trial, maybe years ago back when we ran the tour, like 2005, I could do good time trials, but nowadays I seem to be slower in the time trial issues. So
there hasn't been a whole lot of tracks doing time trials though. So I guess I'll ask you, I think it was the Mike Stevens race does it. There's a couple of big shows that do it. So what do you prefer, heats or time trials?
I prefer heats nowadays, but if I could do fast time trials, I prefer that, right? So
it all depends on the day, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, maybe we'll find some better practice in time trial speeds, but right now we're gonna stick with what we started the season with. We didn't end with, so we'll go back to that and work on it.
Absolutely. There's it's always good to see the 88 car run up front. Dylan Denver, I know you've got a couple of questions, I'm sure, for Kevin Moore, so let's throw it at it. By the way, Richard Atkinson likes time trialing, but I think he just likes going fast anyway, right?
Denver, go, because you're New Brunswicker.
Well, Kevin, let's look forward 2022. What do you got planned for 2022?
Well, we actually Speedway 660 are in the talking about running a point season again for pro stocks. So I think I'll commit to that. And then I've heard about Baby PEI having a couple of races hooked with Petty and Gary as well. So we might do, you know, a couple races in Petty and a couple in PEI. Depending on the budget, I like Scotia. I'd like to go back there at least once this year. But that's all. It depends on budget.
You've been close to that championship a couple of times, and I know the last 2 years COVID really threw a wrench in, and they didn't have the Pro Stock Championship. What would it mean for you to finally come out on top as the champion at Speedway 660?
It'd be pretty cool. The last one we ran points. We finished second, I believe, 1 point behind Lonnie. We went into that race and we won it. So we did everything we could do. Lonnie, you only need to finish third, and he did that. So it'd be cool. You know, I've raced there a long time. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But it'd be cool. I'd like to try it again. I'm glad they're going to look at doing the points again. It's good for our series.
Absolutely. And now, highlights from 2021. I know your big run in the 100 lapper back in June was definitely a highlight. Anything else stand out from this past season for you?
I mean, we had 150. We finished fifth, but we had a couple flats during the race, so we felt like we had a top 3 car that week. So that one. But racing with Ryan for the 100 lapper, it was pretty cool. You know, we were on the high side, hanging it out there. Had some fun.
Absolutely, and that was a real good race that day. And I know, Dylan, you got to experience the 250 at 660 this year, and unfortunately Kevin didn't get to start that race. But what do you got for driver 88?
Well, I guess I'll kind of ask a question to Kevin, but also to Robbie MacLean, since he's here wearing his ugly Christmas sweater. To Kevin's point, Kevin said he wants to race at Oyster Bed. Robbie, what do some of the guys who don't live on the island, what do they have to do to their pro stocks to get ready for a race at OBS? Are there big differences between the rules between the pro stocks? I know the shocks are always the big talk, but what does a driver need to know to bring a pro stock over to OBS?
Our rules are OBS rules, or Time Pro Stock Tour rules. So, but we've adapted the 660 and any rules package with the 50-pound weight penalty for the open chalk roll or the open events. So, which we hope to have 2 this year. So.
Oh, so 2 open events coming up, hopefully next year.
Hopefully, as long as everything starts to go back to normal, yeah.
So, what would that exactly entail?
We're kind of hoping to work with Eddie and 660 and make it a 6-race deal. I know they 2 years ago here in 2019, they had a 4-race deal between 2 races at Petty and with 660. So we hope to have 2 here in the island too as well. So make it a 6-race deal.
Look at that, Tim. We're breaking news here on near Christmas Eve.
Yeah, absolutely. And always love the pro stock division over at Oyster Bed Speedway. And I don't know, Robbie, I don't know if you know anything, but we had Cole on the show last week, and I never touched base with Dylan Gosby, but we were chatting about the Oyster Bed division, and he said Dylan might have some big news coming up the road. Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't. I'd like to know myself. Maybe we should get him online.
We might have. We've asked him a couple of times to get on the show, but he's told me he's not a good interview, which is false because we've done it a couple of times before. So maybe we'll have to twist his arm a little bit.
Maybe we will.
Yeah.
We'll get him on the phone right now. Maybe we'll just ask.
Yeah. Jordan Vino says 6-race pro stock deal, you say, and Corey Hall hoped to get over and run OBS. It's his favorite racetrack. And Haas was on here last week raving about it. And it's one of those racetracks. If you haven't seen any race, let alone a pro stock race, you need to get over to. So Kevin, I want to ask you, we got a guy that actually is off camera right now. Well, it's not Kelly. He's there with a Keith Light tonight. It's just starting his first year on the East Coast International Pro Stock Tour. He's had a couple of races so far in the 80 car and moving in. So any advice you can give Ryan VanOirschot as he moves into a new division full-time and a series full-time?
I don't know if I have any advice for him. He's raced lots. He seemed to do well in, what he was doing this year. Maybe advice that I should give myself more often is stop changing the setup so much and work more with what you have. But that's about it. I'm glad he's racing pro stock, and hopefully we can race with them sometime next year.
So Ryan, I guess that advice is more to Kelly than it is to you, right? Don't change the setup.
Yeah, maybe don't listen to me so much.
So the last time we chatted on this show, Rhonda had left. Is Rhonda left? Officially gone? We haven't heard from her?
Could have burnt it to the ground. I don't know.
We have no idea where Rhonda is.
No idea.
For those that don't know, who is Rhonda?
That's a sensitive question. So Rhonda is one I would sleep in when I was not home.
A camper.
A camper, yeah.
Camper. Okay, we've got that established. Yeah. Just so you don't go anywhere down the road. You kind of had an up and down season with that pro stock. We asked Cole about the doubleheader last week, and Cole said it was a phenomenal idea. He'd love to do it at 2 different racetracks. What was your take on the doubleheader? Because I feel like you're going to have a different answer.
So actually, you know what? I loved it. It was great, a lot of fun, and in a way, it was more expensive, but it also cut down expenses. We were already there. We did have a pile of fun. but one bad thing could ruin 2 days, whereas you'd have a week to recoup beforehand.
Yeah, so a little bit of overnight work or almost overnight work to the race car, right?
Yeah, we were up till, I don't know, what time we leave there? Midnight. But, yeah, I don't know. That's no different than dragging it home, fixing it for the next weekend, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys did a phenomenal job putting it back together, though.
Yeah, a lot of help from Stevie Henderson for parts, and then Kelly kind of took lead to get the thing bolted back together. I got the blacks a little bit, I think, and went back to the hotel with George Koskoulis, Kelly, and Anita, and Tom, Tim, the crew of them. And that doubleheader really was worth it.
Well, with that crew, I would almost anticipate there was no sleep anyway, regardless of fixing the race car. And then you get back in the morning and have to do it all over again because we opened pits early to get racing on Sunday, right?
Yeah, I think, was it Donald called you and said, "Why does my crew chief sound so gravelly?" Yeah.
Yeah. That would do it though. But I guess the other thing, we talked about a doubleheader. You did a couple of doubleheaders at Riverside on the same day, right?
Yeah, don't anyone ever thinking of anything like the sort, please just change your mind now. It's not worth it. You can't give 50-50. It's maybe 20-20 and 80% wasted.
And not only are you doing like 200 laps on a day, you're running back and forth in between race cars. One's in a lineup, one's in your pits. There was more exercise there than there was almost racing, right?
Yeah, I'm getting too old for that. I really, really, really thought it would have taken away from my man boobs, but it didn't. It didn't.
Tarps off. Remember that?
Yeah, see, I forgot to put a shirt on once, walking up the pits in Riverside. One time. And I get called out for it. Yeah, look at these bright, jiggly things going down the pits.
Hey, we didn't say that. We
didn't say bright, jiggly things.
There were children in the stands. We didn't say that.
Right, okay. My mind goes where
what we need to do is we need to send you a Dylan Blankhorn on his boat. Because apparently if you show skin, you get on the boat, right, Dylan?
I never knew. I never got to.
I'm suddenly thinking about covering these white jiggly things for a long time.
But Ryan, with that 25 car before you sold it off to Jesse DeVoe, what were some highlights in the Sportsman car that you had in 2021? I guess we even call the 80 car as well. What were some highlights for you and your team in 2021?
Yeah, we kept an engine all year in both cars. That was pretty cool. But really, when we unloaded road stock here in Riverside, it was quick, time-wise. It held on for about 45 laps before, it's just kind of old, outdated. It wasn't going to hold up the rest of the race that quick without me burning the guts out of her. So that was kind of cool to see it run up top 10 for quite a while.
Can they see us?
Yeah.
We can see you. We got you. Before you go again, Dylan, I want to interrupt your story with one question that Mike James has in chat. It's going to go really good with the story that we have for Ryan VanOirschot. He wants to know what kind of snacks everybody has.
He's like,
we got Keith Light. I know we got some Bud Light down there with Robbie. Okay. So, and by the way, what do you? Is that what kind of we got German beer, Dylan? Is that
German?
What that is?
It's from Dartmouth.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that's the German side of Dartmouth.
No, that's.
I didn't know they had one, but they do now.
That's New Germany in the South Shore.
Oh, okay.
Go talk to Sean Pierce. He knows.
Who let Paul on the screen?
Who let Brandon? Yeah, who let Brandon in here?
The views just went down. Paul's on the screen.
Shut up.
Went down when
Go
you
work
didn't
on
show
your
up
car.
Earlier.
Clear by 4. Come on, Dick.
Windows must be doing an update for the first half hour of the show.
Speaking of snacks, I mean, speaking of Mike James, my question is, where's Mike James?
Mike James has the information if he wants to hop on here, by the way. I know Danny Harvey and Stacey Clements are out there as well. Want to say hello to them. Brian Acker wishes everybody Merry Christmas. Mike James tells me that Blue Star is German.
Yeah, that's in Canada.
Perfect.
Bob, what did you tell me earlier about Blue Star?
I don't know anybody could stomach to drink it.
If that doesn't get Mike James on here, I don't know what will. He was telling me earlier that was his drink of choice, and I've been over there for off and on for a few years, and he hasn't he hasn't said that to me. He says he has babies, so I guess we're not bringing the babies on the show tonight, I guess, or something. Have you ever heard that excuse, Paul?
No, I haven't. I mean, we can get like 6 different iPhones. I'm sure the kids already know how to use iPhones. Get them all on here. We'll interview everybody. Open mic night.
Richard Atkinson has rum in his hand, which for some reason doesn't surprise me.
Tim, our buddy Craig Doucette's also on the Toller train.
Toller train, okay. Richard asked me what I had earlier. I'm going through a Boxing Rock Brewing blueberry sour to start the night off. Shelburne, right?
Yep.
I think, yeah, Shelburne.
Yep.
We have a guy in here that I think we just let in that probably has a glass of wine in his hand at some point. We'll let him load into the call. Anyways, so snacks. Ryan, I want you to tell the story about the hot dogs for everybody that's here.
I like hot dogs.
Well, I know you do, but what's behind it?
So it might be a little serious. I haven't talked to my doctor yet. So driving up to the racetrack in Halifax, it actually happened to get petty. Oh, I don't know, had my coffee in the morning. That was great on the way up, and then kind of started to feel a little weak and shaky kind of thing. And I looked at, I think Brendan was in the seat both times, or maybe Kelly. Anyway, and I looked over and said, "What do we got to eat?" And there's a bag of raw hot dogs ready to go in the barbecue. Well, down the hatch, let's go. They're pretty good. And so I think it kind of became a thing. Kept the blood sugar levels good.
That was your tour debut too, wasn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, maybe that's where I went wrong.
Gear oil all over the car on the open trailer.
Oh God, that was a nightmare. Oh, sorry, Tommy, but
Tommy didn't seem to think there was anything wrong with it though.
No, he wouldn't. No, not at all. I don't know. When you drive from New Glasgow to Halifax or to the airport with a 5-gallon pail of gear oil in the back of your truck and it falls over somewhere around, I don't know. Yeah, maybe before Turtle Salt Springs, let's say. Typically, you pull over. You kind of, you may not even want to mop up the rest of the shit. You just pick up the jug and you make sure it doesn't tip over again. No, not Tommy. No, we got a good old bath of that all over the 80 car that day.
You guys didn't stop at all. Like you just kept going.
No, open trailer, gear oil flying down the highway. The thing had a shine to it. Maybe he had a purpose. Maybe he did. I told him I wouldn't put chrome rims on it. Maybe this was his plan all along. I don't know. But between that and the raw hot dog, man, it was a wonderful day.
I mean, who needs to use Armor All or Lucas Oil Slick Mist or anything? You just use a bunch of gear oil, right?
Maybe Lucas Oil made it. I don't know.
Maybe. Tyson Donovan says he's got spice rum. Mike James wants to know if anybody has any Newfie slushing to go.
Oh, that stuff's good. I've been drinking that since I was like 11.
That explains a lot.
You've been drinking it since you were 11 or since 11?
Since I knew Gary Elliott, right?
That
Dylan?
would also explain a lot of things.
I've been drinking as long as I've known Gary Elliott.
So 74 years.
That wasn't the answer we're looking for, but we can't say the other one.
Yeah, okay. Do I see a Chris Hughes with us? Why are you not drinking wine?
You're on mute, Chris.
You're on mute. We can say whatever we want to about him now.
Leave him on mute.
Leave him on mute. Okay, put the glasses on now. Is that Danny Harvey?
Yeah, Tim Terry. When was the first time you had a drink? Do you remember?
It was on the island, and we're not going to discuss that one tonight. Do you want to tell the story? Because you can tell the story if you want.
Well, I think I remember somebody wanting to drink a rum for the first time. And I was mixing them, and I don't think he was paying attention to how I was mixing them. And anyway, needless to say that I think Tim spilled his guts all over my hotel room.
Alan Curry and Mark Wilson, I think, were egging me on that night too, weren't they?
They were. Come on, drink. They were going. Yeah.
I remember, and I don't remember much about the night, but I remember Alan Curry looking at me about halfway through the night, and he said, "You're going to feel," because we had to race the next day. We rained out Saturday, and we had to run Sunday. And
Yes.
he looked at me and he said, "You're going to feel terrible in the morning." I felt fine. Everything came up. I felt fine in the morning. The tour race was great. I think that was the night that Donald won. Donald won the race over there. But anyways, it was a great day. Night wasn't that good, but it was a great day.
We had a lot of good times on the road.
Yes, absolutely, we did. Yeah. Is there any other time on the road that you want to tell tonight? Because we're sitting here sharing stories.
Well, I'll tell one time, and I like talking about Alan Curry because we had a lot of good times. But he loaned me the Pace car one weekend for a prom of a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I had it going very fast here in Knoll Road, and never thought anybody would know. And they hooked the computer to it, and he said, "You didn't think we'd know about the 186?" I had it doing 186 kilometers an hour down by Haas's house. And I didn't think he'd know. And he said, he didn't know where, but he said, "You shouldn't be driving it that fast on the highway." And I said, "Alan, that was on a secondary road, actually."
So which one was that? Was that the Hellcat? Was that the Charger?
The Hellcat Charger. Yeah. Or the Charger, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, that was good. We miss Alan.
Do so, yeah.
Oh, look, Chris Hughes found the unmute button.
I got my glasses. I can see.
Well, that's find the wine though.
Yeah, okay.
No,
so
I know. I'm out.
I have one bottle left.
Do you?
Yes, from the night we met in the Canadian Tire parking lot in Charlottetown.
Shady
still have
deals.
It's shady deals in Charlottetown. I still have one bottle left.
Yeah, we'll find more definitely.
Oh, I'm sure we will. How was your season?
Oh, challenging.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't good, Tim. Just it was terrible.
Did you blow 7 motors and 5 transmissions up?
No, but it was bad. Not that bad, but it was bad.
At least it turned on.
Well, that's
it did turn on. Yeah. It just didn't go very fast, but it turned on.
Mine didn't even turn on.
For the record, Stacey Clements says that Chris and his dad and I drink Shine. So for Mike James, and Stacey's not on here. I think Stacey's got the info in his email if he wants to take a look. Wink, wink. Doug Matchett has Tennessee Fire.
Jeez.
Yeah. Okay.
Up to Wednesday.
It's Christmas.
That's right.
Is that what
Happy
Doug was
birthday,
drinking at the Miramichi banquet, Tim?
No, we were drinking something else that night.
There was a lot going on that night.
Do you want to tell that story? Because I think you were the only one that was sober that night at the Miramichi banquet.
I wasn't sober, but I wasn't like everyone else. But I'll leave that story. What happens at the Miramichi banquet stays at the Miramichi banquet.
All I know is that time flies when you're having fun.
Can we get
Facebook Live?
Can we get Brad Mann on here and get some rocket fuel going tonight?
We gonna ego you again?
There's not many shows that we needed some extra time. I know the John O'Shea interview we did earlier in the season, we probably could have used another half hour on that. There was a couple of interviews throughout the season we could have used a little bit extra on. I think Brad Mann needed an extra hour because the conversation last week, if you're watching this and you haven't checked that out yet, go back and check out that conversation last week because that one was pretty good. But so Dylan, they didn't get to play that game, by the way.
No, they didn't. No, Brad was saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna tackle, we're gonna knock out the Lumberjacks," and then just like the Maple Leafs having mercy against the Canucks, the game didn't happen.
Christmas sweater.
So we have a question from Richard, and Caleb's already said that the top's blown off this thing. So Caleb, let's blow the top off it a little bit more. Are you excited about driving a Sportsman next season? We'll have some fun, young gun. Happy you're moving up.
Oh yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Try something different.
So it was late in the season. Did you have any time to sit in the car and test it?
No. There was, I think there was snow on the ground when we went to pick it up. I can't really remember, but it was definitely not test season.
I want to ask Ed. He's somewhere in there. I know he's probably behind the camera, but you want to talk about a guy that got thrown to the wolves in his rookie season. Ed, do you have any advice for Caleb Urquhart going into his first Sportsman season?
Ed just went upstairs.
Oh, he went upstairs. Okay, so we will have that conversation in a moment. He said he was.
We got an interesting comment though, Tim.
Do we? Oh
Yes.
yeah. Oh, Fred. Okay, Fred Bannister, read it.
Okay, Fred Bannister. When are we going to have a Brandon Campbell versus Tim Terry race, like how last year Miramichi did the Goodwins against each other? And he said this time with Brandon and Tim, the loser has to do something really embarrassing at the track in front of the crowd.
So okay, I have
let him talk first because he's got a league race later tonight. He's going to finish dead last in. So go ahead.
The first embarrassing thing, like it wouldn't even have to be after the race because Tim would be 6 laps down in 8 laps. Second of all, last time we raced, I'm pretty sure I flew past you on the highway to Moncton.
The last time we quote unquote raced, I passed you all in the car on the way home from Moncton.
I was asleep. That doesn't count.
How were you asleep and driving?
Wait, when? What time?
The October race.
Asleep and driving, just like he is in Irish.
You were hauling the bomber home.
I had a trailer.
Hey, I get a
okay. And
there was. What about the time that I had to slow down and wait for you because you had to give me something?
No,
I was only going 85. I think you were going like 40 max.
You want me to come up with you?
Norm wants to know. Okay, so Caleb, this might be to you. I think this might just be a conversation piece for everybody. Norm wants to know about Ron Enkel's upcoming rookie season because the driver is now out of the race car for the year because she's doing other things. So what can you give any advice to Ronnie Enkel?
I don't know if I'm one to be giving any advice. I'll take all the advice I can get. He's going to have fun. That's a fun car.
Would Brandon Campbell even make that race? Needs a car that will start.
The car's provided by the racetrack.
His is never running.
So, by the way,
hold up. How many laps have you led on Speedway Miramichi?
How many races have I done on Speedway Miramichi?
One less than me, and I have one more lap led.
Okay, so are you saying something about Dylan Langell now?
Dylan, how many laps have you led?
Hey, Brandon, nice win in the dash for cash. Oh wait.
Hey, Dylan, nice job stopping for the X every time. Like, Buddy's like, I'm looking around. I'm like, is Denver waving the red flag?
You didn't even do the figure 8 race, Brandon. You chickened out.
I didn't need to. I made my point. I led one lap. Okay. I beat Dylan.
Led one whole lap, but it wasn't the right lap.
Stacey says, I want Dylan Langell in the car for 5 laps. So I don't know. We're talking about demos, so maybe Dylan's making his Heart of a Champion Hot Rod Classics debut this year.
I don't know. Didn't you say we're doing the pay ride thing? Me and Haas are splitting the other car this year?
Sure. Dylan, you get passed by grandmothers and transport trucks on the highway.
Hey, you and Tim would have got busted for stunting in Cape Breton if it wasn't for
okay, we weren't going that fast.
It was like 110 max. You were under the speed limit.
I've never seen someone hammer the brakes quicker than you two when those red and blue lights came on around the corner in Port Hawkesbury.
So for clarity, last year's pandemic show at Riverside, we went the next day and went to Sydney for the Sunday in September show that Greg was putting on, and we were all working the Riverside show, so we all drove up to Sydney, separate cars, and we all stopped at the Olds Cove Big Stop to fill up and fuel up and what have you. And I think I looked at Brandon and I asked Brandon, I said, how fast do you drive? He said, well, I can probably keep up with you or go faster or whatever. And I said, okay, never bothered to ask Dylan because he kept with us all the way up. Me and Brandon ended up at, I think it was Days Inn or Holiday Inn or something on the Sydney waterfront there. We ended up there before Dylan did. We had parked our cars, got out, walked into the hotel, and he was just pulling in. Well, yeah, he was just pulling in by the time we got to the door. So it was a good 5-7 minutes.
Okay, but this one's worse. Last year on the way back, I stopped and talked to Colin Brewer on the highway for 15 minutes, stopped at Tim Hortons, and still passed Dylan before any Ganesh. That's like an hour drive?
So this year after the October show, we all tore down and everything else. And I waited a good 2 hours after you guys had left just to make sure that, it gave you a good enough head start. I didn't see Dylan on the way home. So that's good. And Brandon, you weren't driving home. It was Eldon, right?
No, I didn't wake up till we hit the dooryard.
Yeah. So exactly. So yeah, good. Oh, Robbie's got a guest. Introduce us.
It's the boss. It's the boss.
I didn't know. I thought that was Tammy.
Come down here. She'll kill you from there.
I can already feel it. I see Ed's back. Ed, okay, so we're going to Caleb anyway. Caleb's got a guest too, but Ed, I want to ask you. Caleb was making his first start in a sportsman car, first full season in a sportsman at 660. What kind of advice can you give him? Because you were kind of thrown to the wolves this year at Lake Dowsett, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Make sure you've got a wallet full of money. a lot of good sponsors.
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate. We have some awesome sponsors, so that hopefully we'll be all right there. But I don't know.
So the question I guess that I have is, your cars always look spectacular every time they hit the racetrack. So It's a blank canvas. It's not like you have the street stock where you already have the fluorescent yellow on it. You can do whatever and keep the car and move it forward. So you got a blank canvas. What are you doing for paint this year?
Oh, yeah, it's a little early for that. We had a plan and then it changed, and Dad kind of said he wants to keep it similar, and then I think it's changed again, and now we just got a new body for it, and it came red before paint. He said he likes the look of red on it, so we might go red. We really have no idea.
So we'll wait and see, I guess. If the fans have any suggestions, they can drop them below in the comments. I do see Gail O'Brien is watching, and by the way, we make fun of Dylan Langell for driving slow, but Steve Austin is also on our crew, and I know he's watching. He's just slightly on the same scale, I think, as Dylan Langell.
He's slower.
Okay, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to let you say that.
I passed him and his old man going home from Lake Dowsett, and I stopped for 15 minutes. Anyways, let's not talk about me, though. Caleb.
We're talking about Steve.
Hey, we're talking about Steve. We're not talking about you.
Stop making this about yourself.
I got to before we throw back to Stone Cold Steve Austin there. Caleb, are you done street stock racing, or are you doing part-time, or what's the deal for next year?
I'm done street stock racing unless someone offers me a seat for a race. Our car's gone. So no, we're 100% sportsman racing next year.
So sorry to interrupt. Are you planning to do any Nova Scotian racing with the sportsman, or just sticking to New Brunswick events?
You see that smile? His eyes lit up.
I'd like to say we'll try to get to Nova Scotia. I know we're kind of liking what Craig is doing, so I don't know. It really depends. I have no idea, but I'd like to travel a little bit. I think it'd be fun, but it'd be new. So I don't know. We'll have to talk to the boss man.
Yeah, it's
he's
fine.
watching, so maybe he can type something. But he's watching.
Okay, well there you go. We have Craig with us, and he's on this. Craig, we don't really allow that garbage on there. We already had a discussion about with Dylan, right?
Yeah, it's great though. I mean,
the Blue Jays are fine.
A little bit of racing too.
They still got a hockey team? Toronto Maple Leafs?
So if you remember back a few years, Alex LeBay and I think it was the 74 car.
Yep.
Got into it in Riverside after the race. That's the quarter panel off the Alex LeBay car.
Absolutely, it is. There you go. Now, for those who don't know, you've done a lot of crewing on race cars at Scotia. I'll ask you about the last race of the season, because I know Alex is probably watching this. Heat race ran on Sunday, rained out Friday, had to run Sunday for the finale, and they get tore up in turn 2. It comes back to the pits, and you want to talk about a crew or an army around a race car. You were there. You got to see it firsthand. How many people were around that 14 car to get it back out on the racetrack this year?
Oh, geez, 20. Like it was amazing, the support we got from every crew there. I've never seen Pete Miller run so fast in my life. I think.
It was amazing because that car on a regular night probably would have been loaded up and gone home, but Alex was battling for a championship, and I know Alex told me at the end of the night it wasn't completely right. 38 laps caution free. He drove it from the back of the field because he finished dead last in the heat, all the way up to 8th. So
with no brakes.
With no brakes, exactly. To do what you guys did is something special.
Yeah, and just the support, like I said, from all the crews was amazing. And I know Alex was really appreciative. I can say that much.
Absolutely, and he was one of the finalists for the Breakout Performer. Congratulations to Corey Hall, by the way. I think he's still out there. The rest of the award, we have one award to present tonight, and we'll do that here in just a moment. I'll get Paul the little cue on that. About 5 minutes or so away. You've got those stills, but the other, and we surprised this with Dylan in Denver because I talked to Paul about this already. The rest of the awards, the Rookie of the Year award is going to be announced this week before Christmas because it's half done on the website. Ran into some meetings and stuff last night that we couldn't get the stuff done. But the rest of the awards, the most popular driver, the best looking car, we're debuting a new award. And along with some of the other stuff is going to be done on a 1 hour Tim's Corner, potentially maybe live, but we're not sure yet, special next week from 8 to 9. So that'll be next week. Because Paul has, are you driving in the next race next week?
Still to be determined. We're gonna try and figure that out this week. I might, if I can find myself another producer, I might jump behind the wheel in that.
Oh, Brandon, there you go.
What?
You can produce.
How do you do that?
Paul can give you a crash course. If I can teach Denver how to do it in 5 minutes in Fredericton, because Wade Wilson wants me to announce, and we can do that in a heartbeat.
That's about how quick you taught me too, actually. All right, you move this here, you move that there, you press those 3 buttons. If it screws up, you're in trouble.
Yep, and just make sure it's either in English or French.
I guess we can tell that story. We missed Wade at the racetrack, by the way. I reached out to Wade here last week to see how he was doing, but was it last year, Denver? I think it was the August race. We ran Miramichi the night before. Race. Yeah, it was. So we ran Miramichi the night before.
Yep.
And I trucked all the stuff down at like 6 a.m. in the morning to produce that show. Yep. And I told Wade, I said, I'm producing the show today. You're flying solo. And he looks at me in the driver's meeting and he says, no, you're not. Colorado will produce for you. And I said, well, Colorado's never produced a show in his life. So how quick was the little tutorial in the tower that day?
It was very quick, maybe 5 minutes, and away we went.
You do this, this does this. We have a good time. And obviously, and I don't like to brag, Heidi has done phenomenal with what we've done at Scotia Speed World. And we've got a couple of others, but between Brandon and Denver, some of the best shows that we've done this year, and along with Heidi, are through that deal. We had another producer that did the first tour show that's no longer with us, but you guys have done a phenomenal job this year. Pat yourselves on the back. I know we can't see Brandon patting himself on the back, but we know he's doing it.
My head's huge right now. I'm so my ego is just blown up.
Mason?
Lacey wants to know the suspense of waiting to see who won these awards is killing us. So I'm going to use the excuse that on the back end, usually when we put it on the website, there's a little bit of content and a little pomp and circumstance and whatever. They get a little bit longer as I get longer in the tooth trying to write stuff down and I get sidetracked and whatever else. So Rookie of the Year tomorrow. And you know what? Let's roll the first slide, Paul. There's one driver in here that has raced with Robert Tomlinson. This is the EIT Race Radio's Hometown Hero Award in memory of Robert Tomlinson. Kevin, do you have any memories of racing with Robert?
I have loads of memories of racing with Robert. One of my memories with Robert is there was never a weekend went by that he didn't come over to the trailer to say hi and talk racing, and just always a smile on his face. But the one I remember the most was his last 250. He finished every lap and he was just ecstatic about it. And it didn't matter where he finished. He just was happy to race.
And it's the never quit, the smile on his face. I know he was excited that year about getting a new body on the race car. Told me he had a sponsor to put tires on the race car and go racing. And this award, and by the way, want to say a huge thank you to Brent Rowley at EIT Race Radios. Before we go any further, we invited Brent on the show tonight. He's got a prior commitment, but not only does he do what he does at a racetrack to hook teams up and make sure that they have everything in their ears and what have you to keep everybody communicating and what have you. He's done a phenomenal job for us on our side as well. So a huge thank you to Brent Rowley at EIT Race Radios. And we went through, I think there was at least a dozen names, and there's more that are well deserving of an award like this. And I know Richard Atkinson's in the chat. He's been the recipient of it before. When I told Brent the story about this guy, and don't do it yet, Paul. We're gonna leave it a little bit of suspense. This guy that has he hasn't been around the sport for a while, or hasn't been around the sport for a long while, but the traits that he has, I see Robert Tomlinson in him, a younger version, where regardless where he is on the racetrack, he comes back in with a smile. Win, lose, or draw, he's there. It's a family affair. Enjoys this sport, loves being a part of this sport, showcases the car when he can. There's many deserving folks for this award, and I know this guy is on the call here this evening as well. So Paul, you may as well throw the other slide on, because I'm going to get choked up talking about Robert and this guy here. We'll let him have a couple of words. Ed LeBlanc is the winner of the EIT Race Radio Hometown Hero Award for this 2021 season. And yeah, he seems to be a little surprised. We went through about a dozen nominees, and they're all deserving. We can only do one a year. But I talked to Haley about this too, and I told Haley this story. And the end of the season, we had Ed on the show prior to the finale or the fun day at Lake Dowsett. And when we had Ed on, he's, putting on a show for the fans and having a good time. The season had been rough. He goes out on fun day, and Ed, was it the heat race that you had the wreck?
Yep, probably lap 8, if that.
And I remember standing in turn 2, and all I saw was the smoke and the tires and everything else from the inside. And you get out of the car, and the first thing I'm thinking of is anybody that's had a season like this that just destroyed a race car. First year, it's been the year, we're done. It's not going to be pretty. You got out of the car, you were fine. I went over to you before the fan appreciation, and you were getting ready to sign autographs, and he said, "Oh, we're fixing the race car." And I said, "Why? It's pretty tore up." And you had told us on the show that you were going to do a burnout, and you didn't want to disappoint the fans. And on the back of the race car, for those that don't know Ed's race car, the back of the race car says "always smiling." And if there's any trait that Robert Tomlinson had, it was the smile on his face and the willingness to tell stories and teach about the sport, and win, lose, or draw, and still has that smile on his face at the end of the night. And if there's anybody that, when we went through, Brent and I going through the names, we kept coming back to Ed's name. And Ed, you haven't been around the sport for a long while, but I think if there's anybody that has those traits that Robert Tomlinson has, I think it's you. So congratulations on behalf of us at Tim's Corner Motorsports, and we'll get you your prize in the new year from EIT Race Radios, because it does come with a kit from EIT. But congratulations, and thank you for all you do for the sport. Especially you guys did some displays this year too, right?
Yep, we went to a few sponsors there, and not too many people showed up, but like I said, it's the sponsors give us, so we got to give something back in appreciation,
And I know we had Laura and Jason on the call. I don't think they're here anymore, but I want to, for those that don't know Lake Dowsett Motor Speedway, I know Drew McEachran's in the chat. He can say the same thing that I'm going to. Dylan Langell can say the same thing. We say it all the time, but that racetrack, there's something special and there's something different about that racetrack. When you walk in, it feels different. The hospitality is different. what is it for you that makes the racetrack so special? Obviously, you've been to a couple of other racetracks before and seen the way things work in the pits, but what makes Lake Dowsett special for those that haven't been there before?
Just everybody helps everybody. They welcome everybody. I mean, you know as well, like, and someone new shows up and everybody's always over there to help out or give them some advice of how to run the track. I mean, I can't.
Yeah, it's the atmosphere. Steve Austin said the same thing. Dylan Langell can relate to this, and Dylan, the fans that make that place, and even with COVID, they were cut down a little bit, and fan wise with capacities and what have you. What was your first take when you were at that racetrack this year?
Well, even before the first time I got to Lake Dowsett, I knew what the fans were like because they came up to Valley Raceway. Like, they would come and cheer on JP or any of the boys that would come up from Lake Dowsett. I mean, we'd have a good number of Lake Dowsett fans up at Valley. And the first time going there, you had your McPhee section, you had your Kyle Hines section, you had your Ed LeBlanc section. It was almost like you could tell by the t-shirts and everything of like, okay, like this is that section, this is that section. But it was so cool just to see how the communities in the French Shore and the Tri-County area, how they kind of rally behind that track there. And I can't wait to get back down there once they can really pack the place and they build more stands. And Ed, for you, you're an ambassador to the sport in that area, but not only just in the Yarmouth area, but all Nova Scotia, showing that, a four-cylinder guy can move up to a sportsman and do a whole lot, but bring a lot of awareness. And like you said, with the sponsors and everything, that's super important about getting out there and showing off. So well-deserved to get this award, my friend.
Thanks, man.
I know that the racing itself, when we see the racing at that racetrack, and we talked about it when you were on the show during the fun day or before the fun day, Ed, you had those seasoned veterans, I guess we'll call it, the Steve McPhees, the Kyle Hines, the Jason Morrises, those guys have been around, running up front and putting on one heck of a show. And then for the most part, you and Doug Townsend back and forth. So not only are we talking about a racetrack that, the hospitality and everything else, and we can toot the horn all we want to, but the racing down there is phenomenal too, even though it is a completely unique racetrack, right?
Oh, definitely. It's still a big learning curve. Like, I had an all right season, I guess, but I would have liked to have made a little bit more progress, but baby steps. And hey, running out back, it's still a blast. I'm still having fun, and like the car says on the back, I'm always smiling when I get out, no matter what, even if I'm wrecked.
It's one of those racetracks that deserves all the credit they can get. And Sportsman Tour, I guess, is going there next year from what we saw from the Mass Series. And you owe yourself, if you're it's December right now, the COVID deal is going to change before we get there. If you're looking for just a different racing experience, I think that's the best way, Dylan, that I can explain it. Go down and book a trip to Lake Dowsett once they get their schedule out.
Yeah, like this is not a Riverside. It's not a Scotia Speed World. It's not at 660. Every track has a different atmosphere and almost a different flavor to it, where with the Scotia, you've got the ginormous weekly racing series every week. You've got the party atmosphere of Speedway 660. You've almost got that the NASCAR feel to a Riverside because it was a NASCAR sanctioned track. And then you've got Lake Dowsett, where it's so community oriented. And then, like Tracy said, it's a triangle on a hill where it's so different. It's not like anything else. And for a guy like Caleb, who's getting into the Sportsman Series, I would say 100%, you've got to bring that car down to Lake Dowsett. And for anyone who has been on the fence, what an opportunity to bring it down when that Mass Series shows up there.
I know Jacob Logan has been on me the last couple of years. It was, by the way, 2021. It was good to see Jacob back at the racetrack in the 37 car, if only for a start or two. But it's one of those racetracks that you really need to go down to, whether you're with a race car or not, to take one trip down. We'll transition away from this, but before we do, Ed, Richard wants to know what the gear rule is down there.
Like, there's no problem.
The gear?
The gear. What do you run for gears?
I'm running a 9-inch, so I'm running a set of 514s.
Okay, there you go. Richard has the wheels turning. I saw he got a present for his race car today too, right? Anybody else see that?
Yep.
Yeah, Richard's got himself a new thing to play with. So we'll wait and see what comes out of that thing in 2021. But once again, the rest of the awards will be unveiled on the show, except for Rookie of the Year to be sometime between here and next week on the Tim's Corner abbreviated live show next week. Whether it's live, recorded, we'll figure something out. Come here next Wednesday. You're already here. Come here next Wednesday, and we'll figure it out again. But I guess we'll transition out of that and move on to we have Chris Hughes is over there still, ball cap turned around, what have you, glasses on. What do you need to see? The mute button, apparently. Put the glasses on so you can see the button. Still can't hear him. Robbie, by the time you drive down there, he might be able to figure it out.
I'm going on a pit stop. I'll leave you with the Christmas channel.
Okay, perfect. So this is like the fireplace channel, but only we have a Christmas tree. I like it. Chris, hold on. Chris is still muted. Unmute.
Got me muted.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
Who was it, Tim?
Well, no, I hit the button. I just helped you.
You come up and said post unmuted you. So I mean, I don't know.
We can do that to Danny Harvey too while we're here.
Live
I need the
TV.
glasses to see anything up close.
Yes.
Getting old.
So
What are you doing, Timmy?
I just made sure you were unmuted because apparently Chris Hughes had an issue trying to unmute himself.
Well, I was watching him struggle there, and he didn't have his glasses on his eyes, for freak's sakes. Gotta put the glasses on, Chris, to be able to see.
We'll get there.
So what's your plan for 22, Chris? Like what are you doing? I saw some pictures of you working on the car and everything else. So what's the plan? Where do we see you racing?
Yeah, we're gonna tore apart for sure. Complete redo over, I guess you'd call it. But yeah, I don't know. See what COVID does, I guess, and where we can go and what we can do. I hear Robbie's paying a bunch of money at Oyster Bed, so we may go there.
I see a laugh out of there too. So that might not be the
Robbie
increased purse.
Robbie, stand up and show him your Christmas sweater.
Oh yeah, he hasn't seen it yet.
Looking good. That's not nice, Robbie.
Paul, we might have to put the channel back on gallery view so everybody can see it.
I just realized what's on the bottom of that sweater. So
yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah. PG show. Sorry.
Be offending people.
Robbie wasn't kicked out of Superstore for not wearing a face mask today. He was kicked out.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for my what kind of shirt did you have on? It was down in, was it Cuba or wherever you went to?
Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for one of those.
Oh yeah.
I was told
I gave you one when you were over at Boston Pizza and you left it there.
No, that's not the right one. It had your face on it.
Oh.
Those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard they were available in Walmart in Charlottetown, so I went and looked last month, and when I was over there, and there wasn't any there.
Yeah, sold out.
Oh, okay. Must have been
well and hated.
Must have been a hot commodity then.
Dartboards.
Fred Bannister wants to know, Chris, if you're racing full time or part time.
Chris, we want to know what's going on. What's going on next year? I'm looking at you.
I see it, Rob. I see it. I don't know. We're still talking about it, but we're getting down to the end of my racing bit, so I would really like to do a year on the tour before I hang it up.
There's none of this end of the rope deal.
Oh, trust me, there is.
I mean, Bob.
No, there's not, Chris. I've quit like 10 times. And I still go back racing.
Uncle Si is how old?
70. He'll be 73.
There you go. So Chris, you have about 50 years to go before you get to that, right?
Yeah. I mean, if I win the lottery, maybe.
That always extends the youth, right?
Yeah.
So
you know how most people when they quit smoking, they quit buying cigarettes and they just bum. Well, I quit buying race cars. Side's got all kinds, so I just drive them.
Has he got another pro stock or two there?
A couple daughters that are coming up in a good age there, Chris. Maybe there's a third generation coming here, is there?
There's a young fella here that'd like to have a bando too. So
right on.
I don't know.
We'll list it today in Newfoundland. Let's get it shipped over.
Yeah, you ship it over and I'll pilot it for you. I'll find a pilot for you.
I see the Ryan.
At Oyster Speedway this year, Robbie.
I was thinking I'd get it shipped over for you, but you pay the bill for it.
Right. I'm going to race wherever Robbie races.
I can message him right now.
All right.
You want him? Want it?
Yeah. Make it happen, yeah.
Chris, are you on Santa's naughty or nice list? Maybe he'll just bring you a bandolero.
Yeah. No, we're focused on the pro stock still.
Tim, is the party over that since Kelly and Anita just left?
Well, yeah, I don't know. Like there was a big brouhaha there. Ryan, did they leave y'all?
Yeah, no, they're getting old.
They're getting what?
They're getting old.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, I think it had something to do with Bud Light. They had a couple of Bud Lights and now they're asleep.
Well, Robbie's not asleep yet.
7 Keith Lights, so I'm good.
Robbie's not asleep yet. He's probably had about that.
Yeah, something wrong with that man.
But by the way, now that they're gone, we can talk about them. I want to thank Anita because for those that don't know, we had some, I don't want to say infrastructure trouble at some racetracks, but with the geographical location of some racetracks, they're out in the middle of nowhere. Without the help. Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of geographical issues that we've encountered this year. So without Anita, we wouldn't have been on the air at, we'll say Scotia Speed World because there's no internet provider that will touch Scotia Speed World for some reason. It blows my mind. And there's a couple of other Speedway 660, Petty Raceway, what have you, to get the connectivity that we needed to. Anita was behind that. So huge thanks to Anita. You saw her earlier today walking around. So big thank you to Anita for that. But now that she's gone, we can talk about her, right?
Oh, please do.
I see that Bob and Daniel have gone for refills. So that's good. Okay, Bob is still there. And now, these young pups, Bob, keep talking about age. For those that don't know, how young are you?
56.
Okay, so you're getting up there, and for those that don't know, you've raced before in Newfoundland, right? Give us a little bit of a history of Bob.
Robbie Reed in Nova Scotia gave me my first start in racing in a sportsman car out at Island Speedway. And from there, I came home and built a dirt track here and raced on dirt for 4 years. And then we built a Nashville track here, Thunder Valley. I built that and I sold it off in 2012. And I raced there.
Yeah.
And this past summer, I went back and tried to race 5 events. Ended up finishing 2 out of 3. So this year the plan is to run what I can. You know, if they do a half dozen races, I'll go back and do a half dozen. So for all you young guys here that want to give up racing, you need to pull up your bootstraps and get at her.
10 years left then, Tim.
Yeah, okay. 10 years left. We'll go with something like that. Because Bernie's still racing over there, isn't he, Bob? Or he was 2 years ago.
Bernie raced with me this summer. He's 80 years old. And let me tell you, I had my hands full with him. Tried to catch him. Something else was unreal. And I had pretty good equipment. And he's just that good.
Now, they did a bomber race. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago where, and Brad Melindy showed me it was one of the gumball, cannonball sort of deals where you started out, you had to run, you had to put an outfit on and then run to the race car and then do a lap. And I think for some reason, I think there was a 2-2 on Burn, if I remember correctly. So if in your return, if that had to happen again, who wins, you or Byrne?
That was quite an event. That was, as a matter of fact, the first time that happened was at the dirt track. And my sister lives in Sydney. She's been there for close on 50 years, I guess. And her husband and her came over this summer, and this is what they had done in Sydney one year. I didn't know anything about it, so she said, "You should try that." So we did.
Compared to race for Hill.
And it was an ordeal. I took part in it. It was fun. It was fun.
And for those that don't know, I've been to Thunder Valley once, and you can give a little bit of the history, but that place is unique compared to anything that we have on the mainland. So for those that don't know, what can you describe that place as the way it drives?
It's turns 1 and 2 is smaller than 3 and 4. It's shaped like Darlington is what it's shaped like, but it's a lot smaller. It's a full quarter mile on the outside, not on the inside. Getting off 4 is the way the track is shaped. Getting off 4, the wall is facing you, intimidates a lot of people. And 2, getting off 2 is you're loose all the time, and I've tried to fix it, and I can't fix it. I just keep my foot out of the gas till it straightens out. It's unique, but it's fun.
It is, and I was over there in I think it was 15 or 16 with Josh Collins, just when Brad started managing the race. Oh, there's Dylan right there. Is this the?
That's Thunder Valley.
That's Thunder Valley right there.
Yeah.
It's a unique racetrack. I never had an opportunity to see a race there myself, but it's on my bucket list. So I know Mike James was going to join us, and I know Sara Thorne was on the list of people that we had, and I haven't seen her pop up yet tonight. But for those that are in Newfoundland, it's worth the trip over to Central to go see. And for those that don't know, Bob, you're also sim racing too, right?
Yep. Yeah, I've been sim racing for, I don't know, maybe 10 years.
And I think with the TCM events that we've had, I easily the most improved driver that we've had from year 1 to year 2, I think is the 77 car every time he's out on the racetrack. So for those, and actually Ryan Kuhn sent me a message here. Since we've been on the air, he's built a super late model setup for Stafford. So I think we're going to give that a go here in the next week or so. So I'll have to get that up there so you guys can get prepared for that.
Geez, that'd be great. I enjoy sim racing. Sim racing is a lot of fun, and it's less expensive.
Yes, absolutely. It can be a little nerve-wracking. I think out of the guys that are here, Ryan VanOirschot's done some sim racing before, haven't you, Ryan?
Yeah.
Well, you haven't done any recently.
Yeah.
Look, Anita leaves and the internet leaves too, apparently.
No, I used to enjoy it quite a bit. So I can't do anything. It doesn't happen.
Well, you're busy with young ones too now, right?
Yeah, young children of my own, yes.
And he's got to work in the Newport City race car.
That too.
So you're saying you get 3 children?
No, 2 children. Yeah, I guess so. Right.
Well, I think any driver here you can say, like, your race car is your baby. Can we agree here, fellas? Mistresses?
I don't have one, so.
I was gonna say, where's Ryan McKnight? He can answer that question.
I got 2, but you won't let me have 3.
Well, I thought one was leaving.
I don't know. It hasn't left yet, so.
Can't till after next year either.
No.
We need it 1 more year.
So if it does leave, these guys can pitch together and find it a new home away from her so she doesn't sell it, right?
Oh, maybe. Never know. I might turn that into an outlaw car from Miramichi.
There you go. Now, if that leaves, I know you've been doing some touring and everything else. Is there any inkling and keep in mind, Alicia's not here. She can't answer for you or the pocketbook. Well, okay, so she's behind you. So just make sure that she doesn't hear this question. Tell her to plug her ears. Any inkling in the future of moving up?
No. That's your answer right there, boys.
All right.
No, I'll probably just stick with the mini stock and the East Coast tour there.
And you had a pretty good season. I'll ask you, because you got to a few different racetracks. Lake Dowsett's the only one I think you missed out on this year because there was a race at Petty. But most fun that you've had on the tour this year, best memory, best road trip. Give us one.
I don't know. They were all fun. They all had their own special little memory, but like racing with Dave was awesome there and Gary. Like that was probably the most competitive my car's ever been. Yeah, Oyster Bed was a blast. Sydney was a blast. Scotia was a blast. Just I had a good time at all the tracks, to be honest. It was nice just to get out and see some different tracks, see how they feel, see how the car feels on the tracks. And yeah, I had a lot of good luck too, and things went my way this year. So
take us back to that battle with Dave, because you and him at 660 back and forth, it gave me flashbacks of him and Darren Fleming the first year we went up there. Going for the win, you had the sharpshooters racing against you too, trying to win that first tour race and came up just a little bit short. What do you remember about that night?
I was coming up through the field real good, and about 25 laps through, I caught Dave, and then the damn car started overheating. I couldn't figure out why. I'd never done it before, and thank God the caution came out when it did, because I looked over and here my fan switch was turned off. So if it wasn't for the caution, it wouldn't have been a good night. But no, it was a blast.
Now, I want to transition into a story about a sharpshooter and Dylan, would you call him a taxi driver on Speed Weekend for you?
Chauffeur. I think is how you say it in French.
Chauffeur. Randy, have you ever been called anything in French before?
Oh, I've been called a lot of names, not only in one language, in a bunch.
But Dylan, I know you kind of got lost at Speed Weekend because you got a lot of things done this year. First trip to Lake Dowsett, first trip to Speed Weekend. You got a lot of stuff done this year, but you kind of, I don't know if you got lost in the crowd or the crowd went away from you or whatever, but we ended up finding you at one point with Randy, right?
Yeah, I forget. Well, I mean, I may have had a couple of tollers in me, but I just can't remember exactly how I got separated from everyone. And then I walk up, and then all I see is this golf car and Mr. Titus behind the wheel. And he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Well, I'm trying to find Tim and all of them." He goes, "Well, I'll drive you around." So anyways, we hung out for a little bit. He was driving me around there. He was taxiing me around the racetrack after he raced that East Coast Mini Stock Tour race.
I know that was a big night for you, Randy. What do you remember about that Mini Stock Tour race?
That Mini Stock Tour was it was a blast. We got to have a good car count out there, and as we spoke about earlier in my interview, I was basically just trying to get out of the way of the East Coast Mini Stock Tour just so they could run their race. But at the same time, you're trying to race your own race and trying to keep the hammer down. And if anybody knows about that, Ryan, you know that especially because, well, you're running both series.
Yeah, it's different pace from one to the other, that's for sure, just with the little bit of differences in the rules package.
Yeah, and with the couple things there that you guys mentioned tonight there, as far as the four-cylinder goes, time trials, I'm a huge fan on time trials. That way, you got nobody to blame but yourself. You're out there, you can't blame it on this person blocked me, that person blocked me. There's only one person. You got to look in the mirror and say, that's the guy to blame. And you mentioned a couple things there tonight. You talked about different series, like 3 and 4 races, doing the Sportsman, them having different tracks and having a series. I'd really like to see our 4-cylinder class have a series where we could do, say, Petty and 660 and have a little something there. I don't know. That might be a topic of conversation.
My goal is to have Wayne on the show early in the year, and Wayne doesn't know this yet, so surprise if he's listening. Hope to have him on the show at some point early in the year, because not only would it be a great conversation to have from the standpoint of a race promoter, but also his history in the sport. And I think did I catch a wind about something? Maybe he's looking at starting a domestic division down there. So maybe that's coming. Who really knows? But you did have a couple of trips down to Petty this year, didn't you?
I did, and actually, when we talked at the end of that last race there, where I ate the wall in Petty, him and I had a pretty good chat there, and his plan was actually to run a domestic division this year. I said maybe I let the cat out of the bag, or it was a little premature on the planning, but it was in his plans. And also, before I forget, while we still got Ed on the screen there, congratulations, Ed, on your award. That's pretty huge, buds.
Thanks, man. I'm still in shock, but it's definitely appreciated by everyone for sure for picking me.
Yeah, hopefully I get down to see Lake Set there if the Bay Ferry sponsorship comes through.
I'd definitely be glad to have you down here, man.
Thanks.
Okay, so Daniel, you've raced this division with Randy, and I guess this can kind of go both ways too. Ryan's been in and out, but 20, 25, 30 cars a night. The biggest division in Atlantic Canada right now, bar none, of any class, is the sharpshooter class at Speedway 660. Daniel, you're relatively new to the scene, so what did you think the last couple of years with these cars, you know, starting to build and then all of a sudden coming to a climax this year where we're approaching 30 cars a show?
It's pretty good to see the people joining. I used to race the enduro class years ago, and decided I was going to build a 4-cylinder. I built my first one in 2017, I think, and then sold it. And then built the other one last year and had some pretty good success. So I built another one. And it's pretty fun, really. Just hold it on the floor and see what happens. Motor blows, transmission blows, fix it, and go again.
For those that are watching out there that might be thinking, hey, I want to get involved in the sport and I want to do some racing. You talked about the hard luck that you've had. What would be the sales pitch to get involved in racing, and especially in that 4-cylinder class, which continues to grow in Fredericton?
It's the friends you meet and the people around the track and stuff. They're so friendly, and it's just fun. Just to get in a car, if you wreck it, it doesn't really matter. You're going to fix it and you're going to go back.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, if anybody hasn't seen, he didn't have the sweater on. Robbie just came back with the sweater. Robbie, say something to stand up so we can get you on the on the screen there when we're done.
It's on P break, Tim. What are we talking about?
Your sweater.
Oh.
Hold on. Say something there so you can come up on the screen.
What do I have to say?
There you go.
Oh shit!
You wouldn't want to wear it to church, I don't think, but
I would. So
I would.
Yeah, Ryan would. So if you missed the show, I forget what episode it was that you were on, Robbie. I think it was one of the first couple of episodes that we did. We told the boat story. We told the scooter story. Is there any other story that we missed? And Chris Hughes might be able to chime in on this since he's over there on the island. Is there any good Robbie McLean stories that we might not know?
No. You could ask him if he usually drains the water out of these crate motors in the winter.
I remember a good one about Stephen Gass. We drug him around a campground one night. He fell asleep, and he fell asleep in a tent. After the races, we camped at the campground next door to the track. And anyway, we went to drag him around. He was too friggin' heavy to drag around in the tent. So we hooked him onto the ball in the back of the half-ton tent, and we drugged him around the campground for probably about 20 minutes till we dropped him in front of a campsite, and we left him there for the night. And, we come back and we went to bed and I didn't sleep in the tent. In my other tent, I slept in half ton and locked the doors because I knew he was going to kill me the next morning. 7:30 the next morning, you could see him trudging across the camp and dragging the tent behind. He was going to kill somebody.
And he might.
The bottom was on the top of the tent. I guess it was upside down. It was black and the sun was hitting it. And I just near baked him like bacon, I guess. So a little bit warm, but anyway, he made it.
I got to see Steve Gass over there once this year. I think it was the August race, because we were over there with the Legends and the Bandoleros, and I come out of the tower, and all of a sudden I hear my name, and I look back, and it was Steve, and we were telling stories and everything else, and we were standing beside Chase McKay's Bandolero, and he was looking at a Bandolero like it was the first time he's ever seen one before, and getting the whole story and everything else. And I said, Steve, that's probably the only thing you haven't drove over here. You may as well get into one. And I think he was going to hop into Chase McKay's Bandolero if it wasn't for Chase standing right there. So it's good to still see him around the racetrack, but if there's some stories we could tell, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. You at the banquet in Halifax, or the Maritime Pro Stock Tour banquet, when Tammy got his booted out of the cab?
Me?
Yeah, were you there that night?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's a good one, Tim. You'll have to ask Tammy about that sometime. But minus 20 out at the Maritime Pro Stock Tour banquet in Halifax.
I was
Well,
there.
it was in Dartmouth. We were in Halifax looking for a cab for about 2 hours, and we were sitting there freezing. You stopped by and bought a hot dog off a hot dog vendor, and jumped into a cab with this hot dog vendor, and he said, "Can't eat that in here. You got to get out." She led into the cab driver, and the cab driver booed us. Went in one door and booed us right out the other door. Sitting there freezing again.
So, Mr. VanOirschot, what did you learn about that story?
The raw ones are better. Don't eat the cooked ones. And you won't get booted out of a cab.
There you go. There you go. You got it. So for those that weren't here last week, we asked Brad Mann about The Young and the Restless, because Tammy watches The Young and the Restless, and there was a story about, you can probably fill us in better, Robbie, running into him in New Hampshire in the 90s, I think it was.
Yeah, we were down in New Hampshire, and we were going around the campground down there, and walking around. Who was the first person we ran into but Brad, sitting in front of the campfire? And of course, him and Tammy, I mean, sit there, and that's the first conversation they break into is Young and the Restless. Holy geez, I think we sat there for about 2 hours drinking beer and talking about Young and the Restless. I was like, oh gosh, find me.
He's a big fan.
Slit my throat now.
So is there anybody else in here that wants to talk about that tonight?
Not me.
No, Danny just muted his microphone, I think. So I think he's out. Not something you watch, Danny?
No, not really.
So what are you doing next year? We got a legend car, or we going hot rod? Like, what are we doing?
We are for sure. We'll be racing the vintage car. We have obviously lots of legend cars in the stables. So I'm hoping to get a run in the FZ109. Is that what they call it?
FC09, yep.
Yeah, the new one that Cy bought there. So I'm hoping to get a couple of runs in it just to see if either my car that I was racing is washed up or I'm washed up. We'll know if I get into the newer car. So you know how you hate to get into that better car just in case you have to face reality to say, maybe I'm getting old, or maybe I'm too fat to get in this little car. But I am working on right now. I will unveil pictures later, but I am going over the holidays to grab a sportsman car. I'd like to go back sportsman racing. So it is a car that's been sitting on a trailer for a long time, and going to pull it out of the archives and do a little bit of tweaking on that, and on the hunt for a sportsman car as well. Like this one here just come along. So it's like everything, I like to do more with less. So if I can get it geared up and run it, I'll run it. If I can come across a good deal on another one or some comes for sale, I've been looking at a couple, but I miss the sportsman car racing. The legend car is starting to I'm getting a little too old for, and I'm claustrophobic, and I get in that little legend car. And as much as you like to get up on the wheel, I think it's time to get back into what I used to call like sitting on your couch racing a race car. Them sportsman cars were comfortable, and I love that Pro Stop though with that old steel body on it though. It's just that was fun. That was fun. So I can't wait to vintage race a little bit more this year than I did last year.
So if anybody out there has a sportsman car, they can get a hold of you, so we can get you back on the racetrack in the sportsman car, right?
Yeah. This race car that I'm going to pick up is a buddy of mine has it. It's been sitting there for a while. I just happened to ask him if he had one, and he said, "I got one here. Come and get it." So, it's a complete car. It's just I haven't got it home yet to really I'll have to rip the body off and have a good look at it. And I've been trying to buy my old Janikin car back from Jonathan Noble and the boys there. They have it sitting behind their garage with no body on it, and I've been trying to purchase it. I wouldn't mind having my old car back. Still got some things to prove with that old hot rod that was a good car. And back then I was just new with the sportsman cars. I only raced them for 3 years, and I still got something to prove. I think in a sportsman car, and if not, I'm at least going to have fun because it's all about. I think somebody mentioned it earlier. It's all about the family and the people and the friends you meet through racing. Like I met you through racing, may not have met you otherwise. I've had with doing the pro stock thing, I met Robbie and Chris Hughes and all them guys all through the pro stock thing when I was doing that. And that is, if anybody has any regrets in life, doing the race directing was probably one of the biggest. I mean, I met lots of people and it was fun. Most thankless job I'll ever do. Never do it again.
You've done a great job, Danny.
Well, you know what? I mean, you think you do, you try to be fair, but then it would end up being like, it's favoritism. It's this, it's that. There was just, it's worse than, it was worse than what social media is now. You can't say anything or do anything without somebody has something to say. It's crazy.
I thought you did a great job too, Danny.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. But if anybody has any old sportsman cars laying around or would like to, I wouldn't mind getting a ride in one, or I'm not sure when I get this other one home, I'm not sure how much work's involved in it. I think it's a long wheelbase one, so I'll have to send it to Frank and get it shortened and that sort of thing. So there's quite a bit of work to do to it before race season. So,
are you going to do a throwback skiing to the Jana King theme?
You know what? I liked that. I'm working on a couple of other sponsors that's been wanting to. I haven't really went after sponsors the last few years, and because I just don't want the commitment that comes with sponsorship is sometimes with my job where I'm traveling to all 3 provinces all the time. It's just a lot of commitment. So again, you can't do it without the sponsors and full time anyway. So I'm thankful to have Uncle Si with lots of cars that I can, if I do want to race, I can just go jump in one and race it. But I think before I ever retire completely, like Chris does all the time, I'd like to, like I say, the sportsman car's the last thing that I'd like to try to get back into it.
Only twice.
You've only retired twice?
Just twice.
Yeah, well, I've got you beat. I think I've retired 6 times, and then Si keeps saying, "Come on, just try it. Just 1 week. Come on, come race."
Yeah.
And then I'm sucked back into it again. It's like a vortex, right? You can't get out of it.
There you go. Then what would we do?
Yeah, no, you know what? And that's, I sat back and look, I mean, I've got some broken bones and fused ankles from a pro stock crash from back in '99. And I'll never forget that. And it keeps pulling you back in. It's what I do. It's what I enjoy. I enjoy the people. I enjoy the adrenaline that you get out of it. And I mean, it's like everything. I mean, you could wreck a car and 10 people are there helping you. And there's not many sports you can get into that they'll do that. Right. So, yeah, it's good.
I do see that Darren Wilcox says contact Wade Harris. He has a sportsman car for sale. It's a Tucker.
It's a Tucker car?
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's one that you might be able to get a hold of. Ed said, Ed put the Merry Christmas down there. Ed, before you leave the call, is there anything else you wanna say? Is that where you're going, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I guess so. I got all the kids here, so gonna call it a night, I guess.
Yes, congratulations on the award, well deserved, and it's a long way until June at Lake Dowsett, but we'll see you in June for sure.
Oh, definitely, and I'm already worrying that the car ain't gonna be ready. I got it all ripped apart, but it's just a racer's thing.
Get senior out there working.
Oh, I think Senior wants to take a spin in the Sportsman next year, but we'll just have to see. Maybe for practice.
One step at a time, right?
Yeah. Well, last race day, not only did I wreck the Sportsman, I did blow up the 4-cylinder too. So I still got to put a motor in that too, but that's no big deal.
You've still got 5 months.
Yeah. And next thing you know it'll be 2 months, and I still probably won't be ready.
There you go.
It was good meeting you too, Ed. Congrats on the award. It's a great award to win.
Yes, sir. Congratulations, man.
Definitely appreciate it from all you guys for sure. It means a lot.
Congrats, man.
Thanks.
We've got about 20 minutes left or so on the show. So at least that's what Paul said. Paul, we can still go until the top of the hour, right?
Absolutely. We can go as long as we want to tonight.
Well, there you go. We might.
Don't say
that. That's
well. Hang on. I've only got 7 more beers, so we got 7 more beers worth.
Well, Dylan, are you still doing morning radio?
I like my beauty sleep, so I can do good afternoon radio.
Was it the last time we were here? You had to jet out, so for those that have been on the show before, the last guest we usually shoot the breeze a little bit off air afterwards. I think Dylan last week, we stayed and talked to Brad for a little while, and then you had to get off, right? Quick.
Yeah, just sometimes those 3 a.m. wake up calls, they show up pretty quick. They slam into you when you're trying to get a few hours of sleep, but it's always good shooting the breeze. And you know what? Just to comment, Fred Bannister wrote that he's loving the show, and I'm just loving this style of show. Nothing wrong with what we do traditionally, but just sharing stories. We're all not talking over each other, and just getting different views on different things, and having some laughs here in the holidays.
And a couple of Christmas sweaters, a couple of Christmas trees, a Port City car.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who wore an ugly Christmas sweater. I'm so thankful that Robbie stepped up here.
So, for the record, and I think and Denver knows, and Paul knows, because Mike James helped me order my ugly Christmas sweater last year. I usually say that I can't wear it because it's got stuff on it that I shouldn't be wearing. But now that Robbie has worn his on the show, I can wear mine.
Good Lord, what does yours say?
Paul, do you remember that night when we were all sitting around with Mike James?
We're going to have to refresh my memory.
We were on a website, and I forget which one it was. It might have been Brent Roy, actually. Gave us an email chain and whatever else, and I have to the bag, the gummies in the bag. Paul, you don't remember that, do you?
No, I don't. I'm drawing a blank.
Okay, we'll refresh your memory later then. I think it was me and you and either Mike or Brent on one night on Discord. But that was a fun night. Anyways, I can wear my Christmas sweater now. Now that Robbie has worn his. What are you saying?
They must have been some pretty good gummies.
All right, Tim, it's all about raising the bar, buds. You are in charge. Raise the bar.
Raise the bar. My sweater, by the way, is not here, so I can't wear it. By the way, Dylan, it's we are 75% of the show in.
Good.
Oh, well.
Just throwing that out there.
I'd love to wear a Robbie sweater to work tomorrow, but I might get in trouble for that.
Robbie is double fisting beers here. I just saw.
I just saw that too.
I should have shot my camera off the freaking
Robbie Thompson would be proud though. He's one of the ones that I know that there's a blue yummy not too far away. So Denver, you've been quite quiet over there. Meredith hasn't flicked the lights yet.
She's busy baking.
Okay, so I saw that she's got a little baking business on the side. So where Dylan, did you get any?
I didn't get anything.
I didn't get anything either. What's up with that?
We're practically neighbors now.
Oh, I don't know. Did you place an order?
Who's talking about me?
Everyone's talking about you.
See,
Bunch
I
of
feel
people
like
that
me
didn't
and-
get any cookies.
I feel like me and Dylan don't need to place an order though.
Listen, limited quantities. Apparently, here's the thing. Apparently, Rice Krispies or Kellogg's is on strike, so finding the supplies is hard nowadays.
So what you're saying is you picked a bad year to start a baking business.
I think it's a bad year to do anything.
Accurate.
She does have a Christmas sweater on. It says something about being naughty, or I don't know. It's not quite like Robbie's.
Is it better than Robbie? Okay, so
No,
not
no.
even okay. Did you tell her she lost a Christmas sweater battle tonight?
I'll tell her, you lost the Christmas sweater battle. She doesn't care.
She doesn't care.
Oh, that's the word of a loser. We've heard that once or twice.
So
we all know who the real.
Brandon Campbell.
Apparently, we all know who the real winner is.
Yeah. So Fred Bannister wants to know, is the Brandon and Tim race going to happen next year in Miramichi? It isn't a bad idea. It would be a good thing to do, and I'm already betting that Tim will win well. He's going to lose a lot of money probably on that.
You guys were more than welcome to both partake in the staff races because you're both arguably staff. I mean, Brandon sometimes lines up.
Brandon
cars.
wasn't there.
He should have been though.
Somebody had the flag.
Well, maybe he
and
would have
because
got.
last year's flag person wasn't there because I don't know what she was doing that night. Somebody had the flag, so it was me.
Well, I think anyone could have flagged though. It's not that hard. I'll say that.
I just, it's not hard. It's not, but I don't know how. I get a lot of appreciation for Billy Powell and Rob and Steve and those guys that do the double greens and the double checkers, because not only do you have to wave a white flag or you do a one to go and then you've got to get double flags out. I understand why you don't do it.
Yeah, no, I usually you get into the races and you have the last car in the lead lap coming off turn 4 and the leader's going to turn 3. There's just not enough time. So yeah, I props to them. I won't do that. That's how flags get dropped. I've been there, done that too.
I mean, you were so far behind Doug Madgett in the staff race this year that I could have took
That's
a little
bullshit.
bit of a break.
I think you hit a soft spot, Tim.
I think I did too.
I was not that far. Listen, if we want to talk about being far behind, wasn't he like 3 laps behind in the 2020 staff race?
I figured that I had in my ear the scores upstairs that he wasn't on the lead lap, but maybe he was
in 2020.
No, in 21, the last one that we did. Like he was so far ahead that he was a lap down.
Doug, maybe he was. I don't know. That would make me the winner. I'll take that story.
That's what they had told me upstairs, but I told them I was actually watching the race. So,
well, yeah, was watching Barry and Eldon fight for last. I mean, Brandon Campbell could have maybe at least competed with them until he blew a tire on the last lap.
So I don't know.
Car wouldn't start. Yeah.
So his he's not here to defend himself. His excuse on Monday when we were iRacing was that Windows had to do an update after practice.
Funny how there's always an excuse.
Like just after practice, like not any rhyme or reason. Windows had to do an update after practice. So, anyways, he ended up a bunch of laps down at the start. His idea, though, out of the cluster that was the Smash Potatoes broadcast on Monday, was that the winner of the next one we do gets a free demo car in Miramichi for a day.
Okay. So he thinks he's going to win it so he can get a free demo car. Is that what's going on here?
Have you seen him race? Bob I think, finished ahead of Brandon more than Brandon's finished ahead of Bob this year.
Well, apparently he won one of those.
He wouldn't have finished ahead of me in that East Coast race the other night. I was just being a nice guy and let him go.
So I asked Barry, I said, is this possible? And he said, I think it is. It's probably possible for a race middle of the season. We gear something up. So we might have to do something about that in like February, March, when we get into the meat of the off season, do another one of those endurance races and maybe work with Barry to try to get somebody in a demo car. It's not going to be Brandon.
Racing.
There you go, Dylan.
Santa's got to bring me a computer.
There we go.
Yeah, that would work.
Unless iRacing runs on a Mac from 2012.
Good luck.
What's a Mac?
Well, here, how about this? Why don't you just go on Tim's?
I thought that was a truck.
Because Tim's not going to do the demo.
But no, I'm still. What do you mean I'm not going to do the demo? I might do the demo.
Fly me
You
up.
and
I'll
you
do
do
the
staff
demo.
race. Yeah, we'll get Paul Strickland up here. There
I'm
we
all
go.
about it.
There you go. If I win, I'll just pass on my car to Paul. That's like Richard Beasley when he won the Sim 500 deal, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Just race me on Wreckfest or NASCAR Heat 5.
What did you call Wreckfest before?
What did I call it for?
What did you call Wreckfest before?
Such and such racing experience.
We're gonna leave the name out of there just because we're among friends, right?
Keep everyone guessing.
Yes, absolutely. They still haven't figured out where I got my number from Monday night either. So I think they're still guessing on that.
What was your number again? 27?
27.
27? I know what your number's from.
I had mentioned that it was from two drivers.
Has one of them raced this year?
They technically both raced this year.
Okay.
You know what? You know it.
Yeah, I got it figured out.
Okay, so you're gonna have to talk to Brandon and figure that out because he was complete. Brett Roy was completely lost too.
Oh, I definitely haven't figured it out.
It didn't take you long. That's the great thing about this.
Yeah. I think this has two great sides to it, so I can see this in multiple ways. So we'll talk after the show.
Absolutely, we will. We'll talk when we go off air. We've got
Keeping
about.
you awake there, Ryan? You're yawning there. Keeping you awake?
I had one of them Bud Light thingies. They're like a yawn juice or something.
I know. My office is starting to look like a Saturday night at Oyster Bed Speedway, for freak's sake, here. The place up for the secretary comes in.
Well, come on over to the mainland where we got the Keats Light and keep you awake all night.
Oh, wait.
Really? Is that what happens over there?
It must be nice though to only have one car in the shop. What else do you got in the hoist over there?
Duramax.
Okay, so
Duramax problems.
yeah, so you got some work to do on that too, is what you're saying.
Somehow gonna pay for this thing.
Yeah, well, there you go. So are you going to be able to run 25 on your car this year in your pro stock?
25 is my number. 25 is coming onto the pro stock tour with us. And myself, Kelly, Murray, Anita, we're gonna run her. We're gonna try and compete for rookie. I'm assuming Jordan's gonna be in there with us, and God knows who else. Austin, maybe.
Who's driving the 80?
Pete Miller.
Does he qualify for Rookie of the Year though?
Who?
Pete Miller. Is that what you said? Are you talking the rookie class?
No, I wouldn't think he would. He wouldn't.
No, I don't think he would.
No, he's gonna run the 80 on one or two events, as far as I know.
Okay, so you still qualify for the rookie. Jordan qualifies for rookie. Yeah. So his car identifies as a 7. What does your car identify as?
25.
Somebody had it a few years ago. You're probably not allowed.
What does yours identify now as, Chris?
Mine will still be 32.
Okay. By the way, she was supposed to come on the show tonight. I haven't seen her. I haven't seen any text messages. So I'm assuming that she forgot. So are we saying the best 32 was on here?
What do you say?
Probably a good thing.
Actually, Tim, my link went to my junk mail, so I was late coming on. I couldn't find the link.
It went to Ryan's junk mail too, because he never checked his. He just asked me for the link. I think the only one that
it's nice to know that me and you were considered him as junk mail.
Yeah, junk mail. That's it. Yeah.
I know there was a couple of others that were on the list. That Stacey was with us in the chat tonight. I had Sara Thorne on the list too. She had a great season at Eastbound Park, so congratulations.
Different time zone, Tim.
I put in okay, so you obviously didn't read the email because the email says 8:30 in Newfoundland. Bob at least was on here at the right time.
Holy Christ, I gotta tell you, when we went to Newfoundland, New Brunswick,
There's no time change to New Brunswick to Nova Scotia.
It took more time to tell my wife that there's no time change than it did to convince her there was a time change. Put that out there.
Where was she going?
With us.
Like, I know, was she going to Quebec?
We told her she had to set her phone back because we're in New Brunswick. She did it.
Was that the weekend that we all ended up at the Travel Lodge parking lot and you guys didn't?
Oh, Christ only knows. I doubt it.
Can I tell?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, Denver, can I tell the Allison McKinnon story?
Go ahead.
So we're all sitting out at the parking lot at Travel Lodge in Moncton. And Denver, who was there, was... No, Ryan wasn't there. Ryan was at the racetrack, apparently. Or so you were with Rhonda.
Good night's sleep in Rhonda, the camper who is over age.
Okay. Anyways, we were all having a brew and whatever else, and it was, I think Brandon was there. I don't know. I don't think that was the night Mark Williams was there. I think Kelly and Anita were there. Murray might have been there.
Dylan should have been there unless he went to bed early.
I think he's gone now.
I think he's getting close now. Yeah, because I think Brittany and Meredith were on that trip and they tapped out as soon as we got back from the racetrack.
I think so.
And Allison was there, and I think Greg Dow might have been there.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah. So, anyways, we're all sitting around and telling stories, and Allison is telling the story about.
I was there. I remember this.
Okay,
so he just woke up.
There he is. Yeah, he bought Hunter a bando, and they're gonna go bando racing. He bought it from Greg Dow, and we started talking about pro stock racing. And he talked about the car that he had from John Fleming, and Denver was looking at me, and the fillet of fish was a different trip at the Travel Lodge.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's still fillet of fish all the time.
We'll get to that story in a second, because that's a good one too. But Denver had told, he looked at Allison McKinnon. What did you say to Allison? Who are you?
I had no idea who he was. No.
No idea who Allison McKinnon was. And finally found out that night. That was the first time I think we stumped Denver Matchett on not knowing who somebody was.
Way she goes.
So, to Ryan's fillet of fish story, we got really drunk one night in a Travel Lodge parking lot in Moncton.
Oh, I wasn't there.
You weren't there. Well, this was Murray, and this is COVID. So it's 12 o'clock. Everything's closed in Moncton. No deliveries. Nobody would deliver pizza. Nothing. 12 o'clock in Moncton. You'd figure somebody would be open. Anyways, McDonald's was open across the way.
Hughes was open, actually. They didn't have a delivery, though.
I don't think we called Angie's that night.
Well, that's your mistake.
Okay. Jeffrey Breen was there that night too, because I remember he stumbled through like the weeds or whatever through the highway to get to the Travel Lodge. He was telling a big old story that night. So anyways, Murray says we're going to order McDonald's. Mark Williams is there. He says we're going to go pick it up and whatever else. And I said I want a fillet of fish, and Murray said you're not getting a fillet of fish. I said I'm about drunk enough that I need a fillet of fish. So Mark went over, picked up the order, and Murray told him specifically when he left, do not pick up that sandwich for Tim. Here comes the meal, and all of a sudden I get handed a fillet of fish. So the moral of the story is let Mark Williams do your ordering at McDonald's, and don't let Murray do it.
No.
Mark Gautreau says I have the wrong connections. Yeah, well, apparently we do in Moncton. We never called Ryan either. Ryan probably had a place to order food somewhere there.
So on a more serious note.
Yep.
What a time to get serious.
Yeah, it's time to get serious. No, not really. Just for a second, guys. Just for a second. No. The tour, have they talked about anything as far as weight break on rules on the shocks or changing shocks? I know it's been a lot of talk lately, but Ryan, have you been around any of the meetings, or did they have a meeting?
No, sir, not yet to my knowledge. Soon, hopefully, because before I start building this thing, I know where we're headed. I'm kind of holding off on them. Tim would know better. Robbie
wouldn't be me because I'd be the last to know.
Robbie, I know. Hopefully you would know better.
well, the last I talked to Wayne Smith and Sean Tucker, they seem to be pretty certain there's going to be some kind of change, but
I don't think it'll be
it's going to happen. But that would make a difference on me running like a couple tour races. So I don't have blue shocks, right? So why am I going to buy some if I don't have them?
Excuse me. I went to order some left front shocks, and they're no longer. They were back ordered for a month or two, and now they're no longer produced. They're going to come up with a new part number, such and such. So shocks are kind of a weird deal if you did run blue shocks. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did allow us to play around a little bit with the weight break.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Brian?
Yeah, I got you, Robbie.
Any chance you could sit on a milk cooler or something there? Oh, we're staring at your beer here. You're getting cut off at your neck there. You can't see your face.
See,
we're looking at your gut.
It's just, yeah, that 100%. That's got a little bigger, too.
At least he's wearing a shirt this time.
At least he's wearing pants.
I'm always wearing pants. It's the upper half that you have to worry about.
So, until you're through a 2-4 at Keith's Light.
So for the 250, the 250 this year, maybe Robbie will allow you to borrow his Christmas sweater for the 250 this year. I understand it's going to be hot, but we don't really need to see a repeat of what we saw last year.
No, you don't. Do you need to see that again? I mean, I'll wear it. I'll wear it to church. I mean, $20, right? But you hit me that with a couple of green bills, I might be able to work something out.
We might have to work that in, but to Kevin's point, I haven't heard anything on rules. I know Ken was still trying to discuss banquets and awards from last year, and we had the conversation with Brendan about how hard it is to put together a banquet with the restrictions that we had. Robbie, you guys did a hell of a job with your awards, by the way. That was some of the most fun that I've had in a while at a banquet. But it was a blast. Going back and forth from the summit the same day was and trying to get off the bridge or get on the island off the bridge was a little bit of a panic trying to get to places, but it was a fun banquet. The problem is now is that obviously we're all stuck in with restrictions and everything else, and they're planning schedule and what have you, and trying to put everything together. So I know he was on Racetime Radio on Sunday night and said the schedule was close and they were trying to release it before Christmas. So whether that happens or not, we'll have to wait and see. So I would assume the rules aren't too far behind it, but I haven't seen anything rules-wise, meeting, what have you.
I'd be surprised if they change shocks, because I mean, I tried to change them I can't remember the exact name, but there was like a red shock we tried. The Q1s.
QA1,
yeah. We tried to switch to them back then, and Cecil would have nothing to do with it. So that was when I had anything to do with it. Like it was, because something should have been done with shocks a lot long before this.
Yeah, I think I remember that happening.
Yeah, because we had them all changed and was going to go with them and did the research, and they're basically they had a rebound in them, so they were going to be just a little better shock. They were the same price. There was no difference in price, but I couldn't get them to do nothing. And it wasn't long after that. I wasn't there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I guess I've just heard Ken talking about it, and it sound more optimistic in the last little bit than it did even back when you were.
Well, they got to do something.
Yeah. Even the weight break.
They go. I just want to know where we're going, so that when I throw it on this car, I know where I'm headed. Like I still have to buy shocks. I'd rather know now than 3 months in a row when I already assumed it was blue Aptos.
Right. Yeah. No, you should know for sure.
Right.
And
Well, all you can do is hope the right people are listening.
Yeah. Was it 4 tires every race that you went to this year, Ryan?
I picked and choose, so lead me into this one.
Tim, have you heard anything about tires? I know it was an issue this year with tires. And Daniel, I know you run Atyeo Tire. Is there going to be an issue this year for tires? Anybody been hearing any rumblings?
They're hard to get. No matter what it is, but it gets better.
I think Hoosier Tire is saying 140,000 less tires 2022 than there was in 2021. So there's going to be probably even a bigger tire issue for 2022.
So let's run some more 2-tire races instead just for Riverside.
I don't know if they had a 2-tire race this year. I talked to Ken about it this spring or this winter, I guess, in the last few weeks, and I asked him if they're going to 4 tires a night.
When you have a tire shortage, is that not the opposite way you should be going?
I would think so. I would think.
I think limited schedule affects that. I think you have a tire allowance at that point.
Well, they might need to just cut out people getting practice tires.
I think they
Stop
did that.
selling all the. Yeah, stop selling. They did that
We
today.
did.
Yes.
We did, yeah.
I mean, Ryan, you don't need practice anyway, do you?
Oh, fuck, I need a pile of that shit.
From our meeting though, last Monday, Brent thought that they were, well, whether you can take the promise of the Hoosier offering the 1070s, they thought that we'd be all right this year. But Rob, what is your tire rule for your regular nights? Do you guys, is it similar to ours?
I don't know what your tire rule is to compare it. I mean, all we did last year, I think we started off the guys the first of the year with 8 tires, and we only allowed, I think, now going back, I think it was 8 tires. Chris, no more, I guess. And then after so many races, we allowed them to buy a couple more. I think it was we only had a 6-race season, and we only allowed them to buy 10 tires.
Okay. Yeah, that's similar to us. Like if they have a points this year, it's, I think, 6 or 7 races, buy 8 tires up front. The first 2 weeks you have to work with those and then buy 1 a week after that.
Yeah, that's
So
probably a better deal than what we had going. It's probably a little bit better deal, a little bit more organized for sure.
But it throws in bank account where you could bank for a certain race.
No, you have to run in our, well, no, I guess you can, you could save tires up, yeah. So with our rule.
But what are you thinking? It looks like the mouse is turning around there, but I'm not hearing anything. The mouse, wheels turning there, but
that usually doesn't happen.
Yeah, come on. What's your opinion here?
Who are you talking to?
You.
No. I think I like your tire rule, Robbie. Oysterbet's got a good tire rule. They have the last few years that I run there. We were allowed 8 to start, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe it was a couple more after that. But the tours, I mean, if they go to $1,000 a night tire bill, that'll be it for us. I mean, yeah, especially if they don't do anything with the purse. Like right now, they're running 4 tire races on a 2-tire purse. So.
I think if we could run tires are paid for kind of purse, whether you change the purse down to 2 tires, no tires, bank tires, however you want to do it. If you could run that the first last place paid for last place tires, I think that's the ultimate way to go.
I don't know if we'll ever see that, but if you can't go and run in the top 10 and cover your tire bill, that's pretty bad in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
I agree on that.
100%.
If I go and have a good night and maybe a good night for us is 4th or maybe it's 8th or whatever, and if we have that kind of night and we can't pay our tire bill, I think that they've lost grip on reality.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Chris. I mean, finishing the top 10 the tour right now is
pretty tough.
You know, you've done your job, right? Because I mean, everybody's so close in the top 10 period that you should at least be able to pay for your tires. So,
yeah.
But back to what Rob was saying, I think your tire roll and Petty or P is pretty similar to what you're doing for points here. You buy 8 tires and run them in a couple weeks. You buy 1 a tire a week, so you're up to I don't know, maybe 12 or 14 tires for the complete point system.
Just takes a lot of manpower to police it, and that's what it's hard to justify, I'm sure, but we've got to try somehow.
Yeah, you guys trailer them?
No.
Okay. Yeah. See, ours are taken left at the track every night.
We had a trucking guy, we'd probably find a container, but
yeah.
So in between this conversation, Ryan has either gone for a nap or gone for more yawn juice, as he calls it. Dylan has shed the sweater.
It's getting friggin' hot in here.
It's not as hot as that day at Scotia.
Oh, geez, that's true. I guess, guys, they're just wondering as like an announcer and nowhere near a track promoter, but if there's so many issues with Hoosier tires, is there not another manufacturer that makes race tires? Like, could that not be an option down the line of saying, well, if Hoosier doesn't have these supplies, should we look to another manufacturer? What's the thoughts on that?
When they run the same.
Care what we run on. Nobody cares what we run on. We don't care.
They don't. No, but I listened to the fellow at the PRI show that does the American Racers, and they're having the same problem. He basically said all these competitors, which I would think would be Hoosier, whatever tire they have the same problem. And this was the PRI show.
I think Daniel can probably attest to it too. It's a raw material shortage, isn't it?
Yeah. And the states are going to get them before we do. Yeah.
The good news is the states don't run the 1070s as much as we do as far as our tires. I don't know what you're looking for, but more Ontario. And around here we run the 1070s, the Thorne and PI and Petty and Gary. The way Brent thought, I don't know if you remember the conversation much, Terry, or Tim, but I think they thought there wasn't going to be an issue with their tires.
And he mentioned the 1070s being more readily available. And I know there's a track in Idaho, and there's one in Wisconsin that runs them too. It's not a common tire, but it's common enough that they're still going to make it, because I know a couple of years ago it was on the chopping block for Hoosier, but it's good to hear they're still going to make it. We'll have to wait and see. And I think the other thing is that it's the ordering when you order the tire too, because there's a lot of tracks that order tires back in like April for May, and with a tire shortage you can't obviously do that. I think the smartest, and I don't want to blow his head up, but I think one of the smartest operators last year was Greg Dow, because he ordered in February knowing that he was going to go racing in June. Obviously pandemic came and whatever, but he had tires in February or in March, and when he was ready to race he had a bunch of tires sitting there. Obviously they sit in whatever else and temperature, and they wear whatever else, but he was proactive to the game. But it's one of those tires that I think, from what Brent had said, he talked to Bicknell about this tire is going to be there, and there might not be a whole lot of a shortage, but maybe they're seeing something that we're not, but they know their product probably better than we do, right?
Right. And that was one of Brent's comments, where you start getting orders in earlier, we'll get teams to give us sizes sooner, and try and be on top of it way earlier.
Yeah. We're going to make last call on social. We've gone a little bit longer. Paul said he's still got a couple of beer left, so we'll go until probably 10:30 on the Facebook page. Marco Tro says every Pro Stock car should have a 4-point hookup for tow trucks to hook up without doing any damage, and make the cleaning job a lot quicker and less damage for hooking up. And if he knows anything about driving a late model and driving a tow truck and hooking cars up, that's Mark. So maybe that's something to look at for the future, because he does a lot of hooking at Petty Raceway. Yeah, we've got about 15 minutes left, and Dylan, I know you've been quiet over there. Denver's been quiet too, so we'll throw the show to Denver. The crowd is thinning out a little bit here, Denver, but what can you throw to the crowd?
What can I do with the crowd? I'm thinking with this tire deal, I know there's been lots of talks. I don't know as much about the pro stocks. Obviously, we don't have pro stocks in Miramichi, but I know with the street stock division, that's always been a topic because they run the Hoosier 890 and obviously hard to find. It's expensive. And obviously, I think Hoosier just announced a 30% price increase coming on the end of last year. But definitely something to look at, other tires, because that has been the biggest issue with street stocks. Outside of camshafts, which we won't touch on. But tires has been the one thing you consistently hear because to be competitive, you need to have a new set of tires every night. But that goes for the sport as a whole. We got to get costs down to increase car counts. Does anyone have any ideas how we can pull that off? Because that's the biggest deterrent for people nowadays is the cost of racing. And looking ahead, obviously the cost of absolutely everything is going up, which is going to hurt the sport. So how can we compensate for that, get the cost down, and increase car counts?
Why can't we run used tires? Eddie tried it for a couple of years with Sportsman Series, and they didn't let it go long enough. If you can impound used tires and run them for a while, it's perfect. I know Robbie, he does it, or did it.
Yeah, we did it for a little while, and it's funny you mentioned that too, Denver, because back in the fall here, I actually sourced out of Texas some used 8-inch tires, 100 lap stuff. I could buy like trailer loads of it for $25 a tire. Thought, well, geez, that's great. Like, let's ship it up to Canada, and let's get the maritime tracks on board. But anyway, it didn't really float very well.
I know in Miramichi.
Let's try it for a while. Let's make it mandatory, not give an option.
We
run
$200
a tire is pretty expensive for street stock, right?
Yeah, at $200 a tire, it's a mortgage payment to get a new set of tires every time you go race, and a lot of the guys can't afford to keep up with that. I know in Miramichi,
30% increase.
Yeah, exactly. It just keeps going up. The Atlantic Modified Tour has grown a lot in Miramichi, and that's the thing we hear. They actually have a used tire rule. They used to run the pass tire, but they switched to the 1070 because of border restrictions. I don't think there's been much of a price difference. They can still get them pretty cheap, but they run used tires, and that's one of the big drawing points. To get the actual car might be considerable or comparable to a street stock, but to run a full series, a full schedule, it's a lot cheaper because they only run used tires and they can get them, $25, $30, $40 a tire, which cuts the cost substantially. They can go run 10, 12 races for the cost of 3 or 4 in a street stock.
Yeah, I think to Bob's point, Thunder Valley runs them on the late models over there, right?
Yeah, we run them on our sportsman cars over here. They're $25 a tire, and I think I know this is going to sound a bit crazy, but I think it was one summer there, Corey Reed had like 400 laps on a set of those tires and still winning races with them. But, it's a cheaper way of doing things. The motors, too, is the other thing with me.
I mean, I remember
we had
a year
rule over here. The motors and the tires were the thing with me. Like, I struggled with that all the time.
And I remember a year that George Kaskulik didn't put his tire order in. We had to hunt him up some tires in Shediac to put on his car, and he come out and won with a bunch of old used tires on his car. I think sometimes we get wrapped up in new tires or faster, maybe, but if everybody's on equal tires, it's not going to make it any different.
No,
that's right.
That's right. Used tires, in my opinion, if you can get them, use them.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all just need to marry some rich women. It'll solve all your problems.
Are you speaking from experience?
No. Are you speaking from experience?
No. There's a reason I'm an announcer and I've only done demo racing.
Well, I mean, between Ryan and Daniel, they've got a couple of extra 4-cylinders sitting on the side. So, Dylan, I think it's time to move up.
We'll see how the cards play in 2022. I don't want to get black flagged at Miramichi for whipping the field too hard, right, Denver?
I have never black flagged anyone for whipping the field. I will say that.
Never whipped the field, so you're good.
Hey, Daniel, I think Dylan has to come up to 660 and show us how he whips us.
Yeah, for sure. I'll supply the car.
Oh God.
I mean, Dylan, they were talking about B features up there at one point, so maybe you can win a B feature.
Oh, did I say? Well, I want to race at Daytona. I don't know if I ever mentioned that.
Was that in RecFest or was that in NASCAR?
In real life, at the Daytona 500, there was like the RC car race outside the track, and I whipped the field's ass, and I won a free beer and a T-shirt.
Where's the witnesses?
And the man yelled at me because I was drinking a beer racing. It was 8 o'clock in the morning.
Welcome to my life.
He got on the microphone and said, "Sir, you need to put your beer down." Still managed to like.
No.
Anyway, guys, I got to run. Tim, thanks for having me in here.
Yep, Bob was good to see you. Good for you to be a part of it, and we'll see you on the virtual track here in a little bit.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks a lot. Nice to meet all you guys. Good for the
You too, Bob.
Voice.
Yeah.
Take care, guys.
Yep.
I'm going to be the same way, guys. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you guys.
Yep.
Merry Christmas.
Winter, and we'll see you in the spring, hopefully.
This might be the good time to wrap up the online show. We'll probably be on Zoom for a couple of more minutes, but Paul is scrambling right now to get graphics up because there's a process to all this. First of all, we got to thank a couple of people. Technically, this is our last show of the season. We are going to do a quick 1 hour show next week at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. First, we'll thank all the people that helped put on our TV side of it this year. And Dylan and Denver, you can allude to this. There are 35 names on this list. I think that's all that we had. And it takes a little bit of a village to put together what we do on a Friday, Saturday, and an odd rain out on Sunday, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tim, it was so fun being at the track almost every weekend this summer, meeting folks, meeting new people, whether it was on Zoom or in person, or meeting people on the internet first and then meeting at the track. Best place to be. And, the Christmas, the holidays with restrictions might be a little bit tough this upcoming, but we got stuff to look forward to in 22, including being back at the racetrack and bringing racing to folks who may not be able to travel. So, we had the Riverside races, which we had lots of people tune in for, the weekly racing series. If they can't make it out on a Friday, if they're in New Brunswick, they want to watch, you give them the option. We've got that, and big things coming in 2022.
Absolutely. And Denver, I know you worked with a bunch of these folks that are on this list. Obviously, Nick and Grayson were huge adds to our stuff in Miramichi, and obviously Norm. I see that Ashton is with us as well. I want to say hello to Ashton. He was a huge help to us. On the side, Brittany Hoyt, Meredith Hay, list goes on, and it takes a team.
It sure does. It's more than a team, honestly. It takes a village, and everyone contributed in great ways. Some incredible talent on that list, and Tim, a great plug. With restrictions and God knows what the hell is going to go on in the next few weeks. There's a special on for the off season. You can go back and watch any of the 38 to 40 races.
55 is the number between the last 2 years.
There's 55 races available. $9.99 a month. That's American dollars. So go check it out. Watch some figure 8 trailer racing in Miramichi, some pro stocks at Riverside, and everything in between.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's on there. Friday night weekly racing at Scotia, some 660 stuff, the 250 from the last couple of years. And I was talking to a couple of folks. We are working on putting together some winter content for our subscribers. That'll hopefully debut in January, but we've obviously got to cut it and do all that stuff. It's on the screen there. Well, Paul, there it is right there. $9.99 a month. timscorner.tv/subscribe helps us pay our bills with bandwidth and what have you, and what have you throughout the year. So that price is good until the end of April. So put that up there as well. Head over there, timscorner.tv/subscribe. And the final people we have to thank are all the partners that help put on this show. It's with gas going up and what have you, it's costly going up the road. I know Daniel is here from Atyeo Tire. You look at the list that's on there, KCP, LJ Designs. We do have hats coming in, by the way. I know Brent's usually watching us on the stream. We do have hats coming in. They should be in by January. Limited, and I mean limited quantities. St. Louis Bar and Grill, AIT Race Radios, Auto World Truro, AE McKay Builders, Maritime Car Wash, CB Warren's Auto Care, Chris and the crew in Oromocto, Brent Enterprise, J. Cole Trucking, East Coast Karting, Turkeytown Mud Bog, PPM, Lonnie Somerville Racing, Lively Motorsports, Speedway Merriman, Speedway 660, and of course, Paul at Vidane TV. That's going to do it for us here this evening. I want to thank everybody that's come on and been a part of this. First time we did it, and I think it was a success. We might have to do it again at some other point. So for everybody on our crew, Dylan Langell, Denver Matchett, Brandon Campbell, Paul Strickland Jr., my name is Tim Terry. Have a happy holidays and a Merry Christmas. We will see you in some capacity probably next Wednesday. Our next actual show is coming up on January 5, and we'll have more information on that as we get closer. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Toast to everybody. Until then,
Merry Christmas.
Until next time, keep the hammer down. We'll see you at the track.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks for having me. Back to a real quick watch.